against all forms of hate.
Our gaming community wouldn't be nothing without our Asian family that has made it what it is today. We must stand united because our voices against racism and against anti-Asian prejudice has to be louder.
No one should ever be treated poorly based on where they're from, what language they speak, or how they look. And I just hope that you know that we love you guys all so much. We are so thankful to have you guys over here.
Yeah, we just wanted to let you know that our hearts are with you. And even though we cheer for the rival team, we want to make sure that you feel safe in this state.
We love you all as family, and we all love you here as you are.
Here in Texas, y'all means all. And while I know some people don't necessarily live up to that statement, for the vast majority of us, it is true. Where your skin color, your orientation, where you come from, does not matter. Y'all means all.
All of you are welcome and all of you are loved. And I hope with all my heart that everyone in our community knows that we stand with you today and always, fighting against hate and discrimination in all its forms.
We stand with you.
We stand with you.
We stand with you.
Stop Asian hate.
この人たちみんな選手。
Stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate.
ユニフォーム着てる人は選手でしょ。顔はわかんないけど。
全員男だと思ってた。
長っ。はよ、始め。
あと1分か。
ちなみに。っていうか。
太陽選手がいるのはどこのチームなの？
サンフランシスコショックですね、この人は。
ああ、じゃあこの4時半からの試合か。
だね。
Welcome back to the Watchpoint pre-show. Today's first match is just minutes away, and it's the Battle for Texas. Yeah!
ああ、腹減った。でも準備も片付けもめんどくせえってあるある。
Up against the Houston Outlaws, and we know that this isn't their first rodeo. Texas got into fights with itself time and time again, and if you don't count the 2018 preseason, we actually did have the Houston Outlaws win the first 3 matches, and Dallas has won the last 4 bouts. So, of course, the big question is who has the edge today? Do you think the Outlaws can bring it back and even it out today?
今までの戦績みたいなやつか。
The short answer is yes. I actually do like the Houston Outlaws. Primarily in this meta, I think the weakness of losing Xe, especially with the short notice, not having that hit scan player in this brawl, might really hurt them. So I'm looking towards Django and Piggy to have a really good match, first rookie match to come back and take it to the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, I agree with Costa here. I mean, you look at the Dallas Fuel, I think the strength definitely lies with the tank line. You've got Hanbin and Fearless, 2 great additions to this team, and they'll be able to hold down the fort for the Dallas Fuel. But losing Xe, being able to rely on Doa and Sparkle, we'll see what performance we get out of the Dallas Fuel, but they really have to prove it to us this year. I'm with Costa. The Screambox are pointing towards the Houston Outlaws in a bit more of a rush meta. I agree, Django and Piggy are going to be very important for the Houston Outlaws, and I think they have the momentum carrying over into this first matchup of the year.
Well, I'm pretty sure that every Houston Outlaw fan is going to really enjoy this very segment, because it wasn't too often last season that we all were in agreement that Outlaws is going to walk away with the victory. But if you think you can pick better winners than all of us here on the desk, then you can, prove it. Go to pick'em.overwatchleague.com, and the champion at the end of the May Melee tournament will win $500 US dollars and a statue of May. Everyone's favorite, actually. So, yeah, that's in for a treat if you pick better than anyone else. Now, of course, it is time for predictions for today's match, starting with the first match. And, yeah, I mean, I'm really on board here with you guys. I do think that I'm bleeding green for this one. Houston Outlaws, I just think they're gonna have an edge. I hope it's gonna be a close one though, just for the sake of it. Danny, what's your prediction for today's match?
So before we started this, like for the longest time, I thought it was gonna be Dallas, and even after the XC news, I sort of had this feeling that Dallas was gonna take it. But after hearing Johnny and Custa, I think I got brainwashed. I picked Houston.
That happens really quickly.
We got another one. Another Houston.
And also, I don't know. I've been just like thinking yesterday night before going to sleep. I said like Houston, Dallas. I've been thinking, and just in my head, like Custa and Johnny's just like in my ears are like Houston.
Yeah, they sent him like 20 text messages overnight. Just being like Houston.
Not true.
Houston.
Just not
Actually
true.
Fact.
I'd
You
want
can't
him to be
prove
wrong,
otherwise.
wouldn't I?
Yeah.
All right, Costa, what about you? I mean, I think you
It's
already
gonna
went
happen.
with Houston.
I'm going for
so-
Houston as well. It's gonna happen.
All right.
We're all gonna go
Green,
Houston.
green,
Oh, no.
and reinforce.
Look, here's the thing, okay?
Oh no.
Here's the thing, okay?
We don't have time
What's
for
the
that.
thing?
Houston Outlaws, they're on the social media trajectory upwards. So bad. Everyone thinks they're going to win. If they don't win, it's going to be a travesty for the rest of the season because everyone has built this team up, okay? Momentum is in their favor. Dallas Fuel just lost XC. This should be the time to beat the Dallas Fuel. Houston Outlaws needs to win this match. So I'm going to predict them to win it. And if they don't, that's concerning going into the season because that's going to be slumping a bit in the social media standards. So I'm really hoping that Houston Outlaws win this match for the rest of their season. I'm predicting them to win.
All right. Yeah, clearly all the teams just do it for social media. That's great. Thanks.
That's how you win a server.
Momentum is a real thing, okay?
No, it is. It is. I give that one to you.
True.
All right. Well, let's just sit back, enjoy the match. This is it for the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. But we're now heading it over to our first caster pair of the season, Matt and Mitch. Are you bleeding green today as well?
Excuse me. 4 of you predict the Outlaws to win. What is there? Some sort of brain bug?
I
Did you
picked
get the
Dallas
5G in your veins?
Johnny took them off of their social media performance. I mean,
You don't
what is
understand,
that?
Matt. You don't
I mean,
understand.
okay, Matt,
This
so
is
what's your
literally
answer
worse
then?
than Plat Chat. This is worse than Plat Chat. You guys using even less justification.
Oh, my.
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
wait,
don't crazy.
Who would you pick? Who would you pick, Mitch? Huh?
The Dallas Fuel. Harbin and Fearless versus Piggy versus Django, I think is going to be a Dallas Fuel win. I think their support line is definitely stronger, and I don't think they lose so much not having XC in there today. I think you guys are on something. I don't know. I don't want it anywhere near me. Nowhere near me.
What's funny is I made fun of Johnny for picking the Outlaws because of their social media, and then Mitch went on about how he loved the Dallas Fuel. I actually. That's that, right?
I hate you all. I can get rid of you 4. I can't get rid of Matt, unfortunately. Thank you very much, crew on Watchpoint. And of course, now we have a chance to set our sights towards our first match of the season. It's a battle for Texas. What's up, Matt? We're in a box together. We're in my. See, look at this. I'm looking. Look at this. I'm looking at you. Look at the camera. Looking at you. Look at the camera. You camera.
Yeah,
You
I
camera.
can see you over there.
No.
You're on the corner of my wall. I have a picture of you just taped over there.
Great to be back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been 6 months in the making to be back here with our 4th season of the Overwatch League. Hopefully for many of you it is the case. And of course, the last time we saw the battle for Texas, it was an online affair as well, but it culminated in an unbelievable moment towards the end of the series. It was 3-2 in favor of the Dallas Fuel. Obviously, Dallas lead this record so far and have kind of swept Houston even in metas where people thought the Outlaws would be stronger. Is this another case of people predicting for Houston to win and then having those hopes dashed?
Well, I think Houston comes in with a really improved roster, right? They bring in Happy, who I feel like is an underrated pickup. We talked so much about the tank line that the Outlaws have brought in. Happy in the hit scan role is massive. It allows Dante to play, just all of the heroes that he's great at. And then they retool the supports, right? They get Crimzo over from the Dallas Fuel. And, in saying that the Outlaws have rebuilt their entire roster, Dallas, they have done the exact same, right? They basically send everybody off but Doha. They bring in basically, Paris Eternal core. They get Fearless from the Shanghai Dragons.
Lots of cash to get a team. I mean, let's be clear on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
But on the other side of things, let's talk about the Outlaw starters here, because there was some speculation. Do we see Coach Jake in the support role? No, it's going to be Crimzo and Juby. Of course, Crimzo is going up against his old team. This Outlaws roster, I feel like it was rebuilt around Dante as the core of this team. Happy, of course, turning up with Dante in the DPS role is going to be impressive. Down the bottom as well, you can obviously see sort of where these players sit in our IBL power rankings, and of course, Junku and P listed in those as well. They played last year. But this is a huge change to this team, and you can see why Outlaws stonks are so high as Junku and P. They're kind of a package deal that came across from Talon Esports, Matt. Hopes are very high for this team. Everyone except Outlaws fans tends to think they're going to do well. Outlaws fans are protecting themselves in advance.
Very optimistic. I mean, the Outlaws fans are being very safe, right? They don't want to. They don't want to put their stock too high, which I think is kind of where the Dallas Fuel were, right? They put their stock really high when they got this team at the beginning of free agency, and then as all of the other teams got announced, it was like, oh well, there's a hole here in the lineup, a hole there maybe, and then now everybody's, a little bit suspect on it. But I think losing Xe obviously before the season really hurts. We'll see how they go about replacing him, whether it's like adding another player or somebody on this stepping up. I believe they said they were going to add another player, but the tank line for this team really strong. I mean, you see where they ranked last year. Fearless and Hanbin are a really tough tank line to deal with.
Those two, I mean, they have really been in the upper echelons of tanks. The only tanks that are above them is like Smurf, Choi, Void, and Sato. Reasonable when you think about it here. These two teams are looking better than ever. Make no mistake. Texas fans, you have a proper rivalry here brewing, not to mention the fact that Jexa, of course, and Crimzo are going up against their previous teams on the bench. Of course, Rappel also will be going up against the Outlaws if we get to see him play. Our first map for this series, ladies and gentlemen, in this May Melee qualifiers presented by Xfinity will be Busan.
And I think early on in the season, Mitch, we get a look at what the teams are playing. So much we hear of scrims kind of all over the place, especially with the split in the regions. You hear different things from APAC, different things from NA. So it'll be interesting to see what actually comes to play today. What are the teams actually running when we get into the game? What I think a lot of us expect is like some Rush-style comps with Reinhardt, Zarya in the mix. With the Lucio, obviously, getting in the other team's face. I think there's also the possibility that Dallas doesn't play that they play something entirely different. I saw an interview with Rush where he said that this team is talented enough for them to kind of create their own meta and set the meta in a way. So we'll see if any of that comes to fruition today.
Mecha Base will be our first round here on Busan, and right, I mean, look, Dallas Fuel are without their hit scan specialists, so the question has been for the last few days, does either Sparkle or Doha pick up that role, or do we see them try and play to their strengths? A classic for this Element Mystic sort of duo, like a Sombra Doomfist, something like that. Sombra Reaper also reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. If this team comes out and plays something around Sombra, when you don't have a Tracer player, or somebody who really kind of you rank highly as one of the better Tracers, they're most likely going to try and fall back on a Sombra play, at least early on here. No double bubble. Hanbin on the D.Va, so but a brawly composition nonetheless, right? With Sparkle on Doomfist and Doha on Reaper.
Dallas definitely want to get up close and personal here. It's really the Winston and D.Va mix up here. The Outlaws are going to go towards a Sombra McCree after the early switch. There's a Sim TP. And still, despite that early Sim, Dallas Fuel get pole position, so to speak, as the Outlaws start to back up. They get that Reinhardt, that wide load, and Sparkle into the back line already. Seismic uppercut and shut down early.
Yes, the Immortality Field comes out, playing up on that high ground as you're just trying to get Happy set up on McCree's. He'll take out two, and we know McCree, 225 HP now. Really tanky. Already can obviously stunlock people with the flashbang, but now much harder to dive. Even with not a ton of mobility on McCree, it's still, with that health pool and Immortality Field in the mix, becomes very difficult to take him out.
More of a bruiser now. I mean, his fire rate got reduced slightly compared to what we saw from him sort of last year, but still, he's quite hard to deal with. Good start for the Outlaws, and they set Happy up to do a heck of a lot of the work. I have deja vu right now, because again, the Outlaws fall back to this bridge. They're getting ready, I'm sure, for Sparkle to make another foray in, and that's the flashbang from Happy.
Yeah, they're just backing up. They're trying to get Sparkle to actually kind of commit. That's exactly what the Houston Outlaws want. They have a great composition to kind of deal with them once they get close. Dallas, they had to make some changes, so they'll play May Doom here. This is kind of, you already see already, right? Who would be their McCree player would be Xe, but obviously not with the team anymore.
That's it. Happy now the only
EMP が入って
Oh,
EMP 出たい
He was able to get through the shields. Jungle with a fire strike on Harbin after the D-suit there, and the Outlaws are dominating here. So far, these predictions for Houston
早くも
seem to be bearing
60%
fruit.
取ってるね。
Don't seem to be any real weaknesses on the side of the Outlaws right now. There'll be a self-destruct and a sound barrier for them in the next fight.
いつの間に変えたんだろ
Well,
う。結構
eventually,
早い流
for
れが入ってた。
Dallas, like they have to kind of commit to a fight. In Houston, they know that they can use the
ハルトが
Lucio
把握され
speed.
て
They
る。
don't have to be the one that can engage
窓
us. They
使っ
can
て
just
るけど
run around the outside. That'll be a self-destruct over the top from
知ら
Piggy
ないボ
connects
タン
with
か。
nobody. But the Outlaws getting very close to winning this point. Probably another fight with how things are going. You see, Houston just has to use the speed to get happy on the high ground. Let him start dealing tons of
Jungle
damage.
looking at Fierce now. Does have an Earth Shatter available, getting pressured though by Doha. Needs to keep that shield up. Immortality Field being deployed, but it can still be frozen. Sound Barrier thrown down. And there goes Crimso's Immortality Field, but Jungle was already felled. Dallas now down in numbers again because Happy's causing so many problems. Doha has been fallen. Fearless is bereft of teammates. Sparkle unable to really have an impact at all in this round, and now it's a matter of getting rid of the Reinhardt. Happy definitely dodges out of the way as the shatter comes in, and it is the Outlaws with a 100-0 statement round to start off Busan.
A dominating round. I mean, that round was not close whatsoever. So we'll see if the Dallas Fuel can adjust maybe the composition going into the next map, next round. But if McCree is going to be this focal in terms of the meta, Dallas is going to have to get really creative, or they're going to have a new player come in rather quickly. I would say too, like for the Outlaws' point of view, like many of the fans in NA probably didn't really get to see that much of Happy last year with him playing in APAC. But tremendous player last year for the Guangzhou Charge, really strong hit scan player. So Houston has gotten themselves a real dominant force here in NA who's going to be strong.
So far, the synergy as well with the tank line was looking very, much more compact composition. Now the Outlaws will be playing Winston Diva Dive. So we'll see a different facet of this team's coordination being tested now as Happy takes an early perch on the high ground, but will be contested. It's going to be Echo for both sides here, and Sparkle's on the Tracer.
So but still, look at Happy set up on the high ground here. Putting down the damage with the dynamite, able to push down Fearless from that high ground. Like, he's going to be uncontested all game long, and because you have the Brigitte and the Ana in the mix, you just Biotic Grenade, you have the Shield Bash, being able to keep some of those divers off him. It's going to be really tough, and I want to see if Dallas ever goes towards like some type of hit scan. Like, do we see them even try and put Sparkle on like a McCree or a Nash, let's say? You obviously wouldn't favor him against Happy, but at least to put some consistent pressure on him at range.
Well, Dante might be punishing the lack of hit scan pressure right now for Dallas. There's really only Hardbin that can access the Echo unless Doha is able to hack Dante and clip those wings. Dante checks the field right now. Fielder could be in deep trouble. The Jungle gets a nano boost. It is too close, too personal for the Ana to deal with. Jexa also going to fall by the wayside here. And my God, the Outlaws just look that much better right now. And what a difficult assignment for Jexa on Brig here. Who are you really stopping? Maybe just Jungle or Piggy, but you can't do anything to Dante. Happy's too far away for you to deal with.
No, I mean, once Jungkook's in, he has the nano boost. Your Ana is really low. There's nothing you can really do. The point actually did go to Dallas there for a bit. Sparkle with a back cap. But Houston just takes it back right away. See what Fielder decides to do with the nano boost. Probably on a Fearless as he's going to try and dive into the back.
With a Biotic Grenade there. Looks like that was eaten up by Piggy, but the nano boost still connects and Sparkle finds the pulse bomb. A lot of ultimates being used in this particular round as Harbin tries to self-destruct as well. Not able to get back in the mech either. Bob deals with that little deterrent quite easily. Sparkle on the point, really wants to try and pressure Happy, but it's a tough target to find, and Jungkook is making it painful right now for Dallas. Huge pick on Jexa, but lacks teammates. Dallas in the final moments with a big primal from Fearless is able to even the ledger, but they're not done yet.
But no, and Houston's going to be able to keep this point going. They're going to use the rally here from Juby. It's going to be a self-destruct from Piggy over the top. EMP from Dante is, he uses the Echo Duplicate. As even though that fight, Dallas invested so many ults, it went on forever. Not able to take it back. Houston with a fantastic job of stalling that out.
Still an EMP available here for Doha, and God, Dante almost had one there as well on that duplicated Sombra. Here's that EMP, connects onto 3. Crucially, Piggy now is actually out of the fight and can't boost back in for the duration of this EMP. Jexa pops a rally, deals with Jungu.
ああ、取りに行った。
Uses double slaps, not very effective against the Winston clearly. Dante and Doha both fall down and Jungu gets hit with a big body grenade. Nicely done by Fielder there, and Jexa wants to try and run the rest of the Outlaws out of this tower.
And if you're the Outlaws, you can reset. That's a pulse bomb that gets in there towards the end of the fight. But Dante will go to Tracer here. You know, you just need one fight to swing the map in your favor, and you have a nano boost. So expect to see Crimzone put that on to Jungu. Jungu go into the backline, really like how he was able to get to Fielder before, looking for that same type of play.
Dante, look at him, just trying to challenge Doha, force as many translocates as possible. And yes, both sides have nano boosts available here. Fielder doesn't need to build that ultimate, but still wants to take some pot shots at the Winston anyway. Hanbin also relatively close to a self-destruct here, and the Fuel want to control the high ground here and be able to drop down for free, but Dante sneaks onto the point, Matt. He's the EMP, catches two. Hanbin goes for the self-destruct immediately, and Fearless, although he's hacked, gets a nano boost. Still able to do a lot, but can't prevent the sleep dart from coming through. He gets caught by that one. Now Primal Rage for Fearless, but there's some action on the point. Fearless is dealing with the bulk, though, of the Outlaws right now. Almost an individual effort really starting to shine here, but he gets hit with another nasty biting grenade. Needs to back away. On the point, Harmer's going to dash straight on in here. Pressure Happy away. Bane forced to translocate, but we're 99 to 66, and Outlaws flip. The points are in overtime here, man. And Jungu wants to make some space here with this Primal Rage if he can. Doha's hacked. He can't get away. Huge biting grenade connection from Crimzo means Fielder can't heal. And there goes Jungu, finally going down. This is about to turn into a bit of a brawl. Piggy self-destruct on the point, that creates some space, but overtime's still not over yet. And Hanbin moves back onto the point. Little low on health, but Dante, Pulse Bomb doesn't connect. Eaten up there by Hanbin comfortably, and the Fuel have the numbers. When the dust settles, the Fuel are in control.
So Fuel weathered the storm there. It did not look good. Even though Fearless was creating all that space, Mitch, when we were watching with the Primal Rage, he wasn't able to get either support. Houston flipped the point. It got a bit scary there. But now one fight territory for the map. Crimzo with another nano boost for this fight. They may just wait again for Happy to be able to form up the ZMP.
する前じゃない。さすがに多分ついたのは消せないわ。
Dante makes it risky, goes to the point, dueling a little bit with Sparkle now, who seems to be holding his own. People said that there's no Tracer player on this roster. Sparkle doing okay. Recalls, but is sitting close to the pack, and that's the pick. Fielder from across the map. The Dallas Fuel, they're in control, and they sneak back close to this second round. Happy has to translocate away. Rally needs to be used by Juby to even get to the point, but he's stuck with a Pulse Bomb and sent packing. And now we got ourselves a map. It's one apiece on Busan.
Houston just waited for so long, Mitch, trying to play around that EMP. They never actually end up getting it off. And like you mentioned, for all of the talk about Sparkle on Tracer, who's the Tracer player for this team, Dante we regard as a really strong Tracer player, and Sparkle holds his own in a big fight on the point. Gives Dallas an opportunity to win map number 1.
A huge turnaround for them as well. We saw Fielder able to cycle his nano boost into Fearless, who usually was able to build Primal Rage off of that. And once Fearless gets into the backline, Crimzo and Juby really have their hands full, especially when Jungu's busy on the point, trying to contest it in some way or another. Dallas Fuel look much more comfortable there when it is a Winston Diva versus Winston Diva setup, but here's a point of difference now. Ball and Sigma for Houston.
We have seen so many different comps already. Sigma Ball here for the Outlaws.
Excuse
me? Not a ton.
高台は
Never mind.
ゼニマ。おー。
It'll be a Zen and Brig for the Outlaws too. So you know, Mitch, come on. It's early in the season.
Yeah, it is. What's your point?
You can't be trying to throw jokes like that early.
Okay, sorry.
So you put Happy back on the McCree here. So not a ton of healing, like I mentioned, with Zen and Brig in the mix. But really, you're able to get the discords down and just kind of blow targets up with the McCree in the ball.
ブリってとマクリーの CC で飛んできたやつを止めて、でそこをゼニアッタのフワとフォーカスで多分一人ずつ受けるってやつ。トレーサーとボールが割とヒール回さなくてもいいキャラだから、このヒール量で回るっていう。
じゃああれか、最初のじゃんけんは勝ったみたいな感じか。
う
もうやばっ。
今見えてなかった。 今ウルト中に打ったよ。
Not many ways to get rid of Moira. Burst damage during coalescence is one of the few of those.
モイラのウルト中移動速度速いから
つけにくいんだ。
つけにくいと思う普通にうまいわ。
パッ
やば。
お
おおすげえその近接。
45 to 10% here as the Outlaws. Pretty darn good with the ball signal composition. Coming close now to Minefield and there's a dead eye on the way for Happy.
I was gonna say you're able to combo some of these, right? The Gravitic Flux plus a Deadeye. You can also use the mines on the point. Prevent Dallas from just kind of rushing on in. Doha with the EMP. Let's see how he decides to use this. That's the Deadeye that comes out. No other ultimates used.
Oh my! Gets taken down. You really think you'd be able to avoid that? Maybe he overestimated the duration of the defense matrix or wasn't in a good position. Faded away perhaps. Either way, that is a devastating result for the Dallas Fuel. Again, Fielder picked early in a fight.
I mean, at this level, you rarely see like the Deadeye be a huge impactful ultimate, especially getting somebody like a Moira who has the fade capability to get out of the way. But, that's huge. Just using the Deadeye able to get a pick. Look at Doha, still kind of lurking behind enemy lines. Even if he gets his EMP off, as long as Jungwoo doesn't get connected by it, he can just use the mines in to help. And now it's going to take out Doha.
EMP was activated here, so Juby goes down as a result. Fearless is able to capitalize on that with the Primal Rage, but Dallas have to use everything now, and I mean everything. Harbin goes down after being desuited. The Pulse Bomb finds its mark, but Fearless also finds his. He eventually gets rid of both supports, but he needs backup. That's where Doha comes in. Happy is down, but it's 99 to 10 here, and you can see it's a dangerous stance on the point. Jungwoo gets slurped down. The last of his humors are drawn away from him. And the Sigma are also out of the picture here. Dallas, they managed to hang on here, but it's really Fearless that sets up this fight by removing all the healing from Houston.
It's kind of oddly similar to our last point, right? For the Outlaws, they took a huge lead. Dallas able to take the point back, and then Outlaws kind of played around some ultimates that didn't work out. But this next fight, though, Mitch, they have a huge bank of ultimates. You're going to have the Transcendence Rally. You'll also have another Deadeye and a Pulse Bomb. This is really, Houston's fight.
Fielder, it could be a Pulse Bomb for him as well. They need to be careful. Rally being used there. Key shield bash applied to the middle of the fight, and here's the Coalescence Field says, please don't bomb, please don't bomb, please don't bomb. Steps back. And it's going to be a transcendency for the Outlaws. You said that they had a lot to use, but now they're forced to dig deep into those pockets. They got the extra healing from Crimzo. Dante stands on the point, and there's a good amount of armor still persisting from the Rally. Happy's trying to keep a safe distance here, but Jexa is taken down now, and Dallas, I mean, they've got to try and dip a toe on the point, but they are in trouble.
So we'll see how anybody gets back to get a touch. It'll be Fearless who jumps on. Has Han been there with him? Is Sparkle now comes back with the Pulse Bomb, and that's huge. He's gonna get two.
Jungwoo finds Sparkle with the nade here, the minefield rather. To walk into this minefield, they have to give the Cactus a hug. There's no other choice. The Dallas Fuel get run down now. Fielder is removed and Doha can't touch. What a first map, but Busan goes to the Outlaws.
It's a really close map there. Map number 1 is. A lot of people, I think, expected the Outlaws, maybe to kind of come in and roll over the Fuel. I believe Johnny even thought it potentially was a 3-0. But Dallas used a lot of interesting compositions. They brought out the May, try and close the gap. But Happy's McCree, too strong there in map number 1. I think we talked a lot about the Tracer for the Dallas Fuel and who's going to play that. I actually thought Sparkle really played well against Dante. I think what they really missed, though, is that McCree play.
No doubt about it. Now, of course, Happy, I mean, already gained so many accolades for his performances on McCree through last year. We know that what he's capable of, and again, on the side of the Dallas Fuel, being able to answer that has been a little bit difficult. Map number 2, though, is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Stay yourselves. We've still got plenty of Overwatch to come in this battle of Texas on the other side of the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs.
good day of Overwatch. New York kick things off with a bang. Tuba, manages to get rid of Masa. Come on. He'll get rid of Kodak. Do I see a Hawkeye? Do. Oh! Wait, what? Are you serious? What's that? Oh, dear. In the block. That's the Deadeye. No. Unbelievable. Yes! Come on! I don't believe what I just said. Raw. That is absurd.
That is exactly what the doctor ordered.
And despite their best efforts, the Chengdu Hunters are Chengdan.
Yeah! Huge Decay is charged up. There's another Graviton Surge. He doesn't even need it to connect. He'll fall by the hand of a former comrade. And 2 Decay.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Now your only damage is going to be a Genji, which isn't the most consistent in the world at trying to do damage, although I say that, look at Doha, just slow! That's the ghost attack! 5, the biggest one from Olympiad, but you see Aki will go down, but not before he can get that nano boost out on a Fearless, who is just cleaving everybody like a monster. Longo as well, that was how he'll die, and Sparkle! Oh my word, that's what we wanted to see.
I mean, let's be honest. We definitely stacked the opener for the Overwatch League with just 6 matches. This one delivering so far. I tell you what, you've seen Platchat's ranking, but how about another kind of bots rankings? This is IBM Watson's power rankings here, and you can see that Fearless and Harmon, I mean, we talked about it before, right? They're both in the top 10, 5th and 6th respectively. And I have to say, Matt, these two seem to be one of the main factors keeping Dallas in the fight so far, even if they don't get that first map.
They really are. And we saw Fearless in the Overwatch League, you know, season 1, right, with the Shanghai Dragons, comes in like midway through the year, and then he goes into contenders and then back, and he has been a force since he's been back into the league. And Hanbin last year, a lot of people were talking about him as, you know, one of the best off tanks in the league. Felt like he wasn't getting enough love with, you know, all of the praise for Sparkle and Xe that they got with the Paris Eternal. Now that these two players are together, they can really kind of play anything in terms of tank composition, right? We see them on the Winston Diva, tremendous there. You know, Hanbin, we know what he can do on the Sigma, Zarya. We do have a sub coming in. It'll be Repel in for Fielder, so Fielder will come out for map number 2. But tank line at Dallas really seems to be their strength so far.
And of course now, yeah, changing the support line here maybe makes you think that we see less Ana here. Obviously, Fielder has always been known for the Ana pick. We saw a lot of sort of Nano Monkey setups on that previous map. Of course, it wouldn't be the Overwatch League if we didn't return to Kings Row in map number 2 here, and perhaps some of Dallas Fuel's, you know, reassignments here might imply a particular approach. Maybe we'll start to see them go for something that involves Lucio, maybe some sort of rush-down compositions here. But, I mean, look, Fielder had a tough map 1. That is really quite a baptism of fire for a 2020 Overwatch League start. I mean, you know, he's using Coalescence, gets hit with a Pulse Bomb, gets picked off early, like the next fight as well. Tough one, as the Outlaws are doing a very good job of punishing the Dallas Fuel backline here.
I mean, with all the aggression coming in on Fielder into the backline, you know, there's only so much they can do to keep him alive, and there's no, like how I mentioned, like McCree at 225 HP. There's no big like DPS back there.
He's kind of thick in the off season.
Who can aid in that brawl.
Right. He's been on that COVID diet. My man, getting chonky. Mad respect.
McCree's gained a few in the off season. Yeah, he's had some time to do so. This is a map where I think you'll see Rush. Like even when Rush is like not a, you know, particularly dominant composition, teams really play like Ryan Zarya, brawl it out on this map. You know, whether it's with Doomfist, like how you see the Outlaws right now with like a, you know, May Reaper, McCree also kind of brawly. So not surprised to see some of these maps come out, some of these comps come out here on Kings Row.
Happy on the McCree. I think we're pleased to see that, Matthew. It's something that we really enjoyed seeing in that map number 1. And
usually on Kings Row, you're worried about somebody on the other side potentially pulling out like a Widowmaker or an Ashe and, you know, outranging McCree. you don't really see. Is there a threat on Dallas where you would be like scared of the Widow or anything along those lines?
What do you think? Hanzo Hanzo's pretty good. I mean, Hanzo can get headshots without even trying to aim at people, right? I mean, I'm just saying, there's a threat. Happy can be pressured at long range if Doha stays on the Hanzo, and he will. So yeah, technically not hit scan, but still a decent threat at longer range as Dallas come out with Hanzo Doomfist in the double bubble.
I mean, Hanzo gives you the ability to, burst people at range. If, like, Sparkle goes in with Fearless, they put a shield down and try and battle, you're just able to put some shots in with the Hanzo. But really nice AWOL there from Dante. Obviously, Hanzo able to get over the top of it, Doha able to do so, but still, he's not able to put down some damage there at the beginning.
Outlaws, very compact composition. Their team setup is designed to brawl and benefit from the high healing throughput of Batiste. Sparkle, though, waiting at the door to give them a bit of a welcome, and nice way to separate Jungkook from the rest of the team. This allows Dallas to extract and remove Dante early. 5 players now for the Outlaws to work with, and they are all spread like 4 wins here. Sparkle playing close to the doorway, punches away as he sees that amplification matrix thrown up, but Fearless living up to his name, playing nice and close to the post box.
And Happy not able to get over by that amp matrix, right? It's really for the healing, trying to keep the tanks alive as they lose a few players as Sparkle gets in close range. This is not what you want to see if you're the Outlaws, as Sparkle's Doomfist inside of the buildings here. But that's going to be Dallas Fuel. It should be a point A take, so they really do a nice job of setting that play up. Houston felt like they needed to go up there, take the high ground back, and the first pick is from Doha. He's able to get a kill onto Dante as he had to step out a little bit too far. Like you mentioned, Hanzo, you just kind of shoot the chokes with the arrows. You hit 1, maybe 2, and you're able to get a kill, and that's exactly what happens at the beginning of that fight.
The best part is it's a rising uppercut from Sparkle to actually knock Jungkook off of that platform and then just remove the shield from the front of the Outlaws lineup. Houston have to play so compactly that if one of those key components is removed, like the Reinhardt shield, for example, you're a little weaker, especially more subject to the Hanzo. Sparkle goes in, hacked immediately, trying to deal with the Sombra, and absolutely blown to smithereens there. Dallas sheepishly back away as their key tool, the Spearhead, is broken instantly.
And that was supposed to be a huge play for the Dallas Fuel. They invested a nano boost on the Sparkle. They thought that if they give him a nano, he gets a seismic slam around the corner, probably able to get at least 1 player. Didn't account for Dante coming back on Sombra, gets a big hack, stops Sparkle right in his tracks. So it's huge. It allows the Outlaws to stop the card here, as opposed to, Dallas getting a really easy team fight where they would have had Grab Dragon to really take point B.
Okay, Dragon thrown out here. This is just to create a little bit of space, though, because, okay, Hanbin, it was the grab gets eaten up by Piggy. He saw the D.Va fly towards him. So still the Dragon's able to do some work, but is it going to be enough at this stage? Because there's a pretty solid shatter from Jungkook, who backs away, and there's the EMP. It's everything being used by the Outlaws right now, and it still doesn't quite seem to be enough. Jungkook is down, Fearless at the 4, and Piggy now is going to be removed. Sorry, Piggy, there's no extra damage on the remake quite yet. And that is a disaster for the Outlaws. Look at what they brought into the fight. They ate a grab, and they still get robbed.
Yeah, the Grab Dragon, though, from the view was like so oddly timed. Like the Dragon came out, the grab was a little bit after. It gets eaten and they don't get anything with it. Somehow Gela is still able to win that fight. As sound barrier invested by both teams as well during that. As Sparkle goes in again. Able to do some work here, gonna Meteor Strike looking for the support.
Crucially, Sparkle doesn't get hacked. It was actually Jexa that got hit by Dante there, and I wonder if Dante really intended it to go that way. Either way, Sparkle was able to do damage now, and if you don't hack this Doomfist, you are going to get absolutely pounded. Piggy now trying to move up towards the carpet. I mean, he's going to be desuited pretty quickly. Doha doesn't have to do too much here. He sails it straight on in, and the Fuel have over 4 minutes for the last part of the map.
And they're going to have Grab Dragon for the next fight. Grab Dragon, no sound barrier on the other side. There will be Dante with an EMP. Could be a big combo here from Dallas to get the card over the line. It'd be a very good time if they're able to do so.
Hanbin needs to not have this grab eaten again. I know Hexagram somewhere is sweating. That's right, buddy. Still living rent-free, baby. Hanbin, no in trouble. Gonna get jumped on. Here's the EMP. So no grab for the time being. Dallas forced onto the back foot, but here is the nano boost for Fearless. Repel picking up those Ana duties here, and they still go for the Dragon. Doha's able to find the kill on Jungkook, who can't get away quickly enough, and Piggy's removed. Dallas used half of their kill combo, and they still have a big grab to try and get done. Here it is, into the back left corner. Hanbin saying, come with me, brothers. And Happy's going to find a double kill with the Deadeye. Obviously, Ant Matrix makes those skulls pop up much quicker, Matt.
ザリアしかいない。
Yeah, and he gets both players on the payload, so not able to get the cart over the distance is that is huge there from Happy through the Ant Matrix. So next fight, still a ton of time for the Dallas Fuel. A really good push so far on the offense. Is Dante Sombra, it's been effective against Sparkle on the Doomfist, but still a few times where he's not able to get the hack off. Sparkle able to disrupt his Fearless goes down into the hole. This will be a wait now. For the Fuel, gonna try and maybe back up a bit.
It's like Super Mario. He just gets knocked off the edge.
Sparkle's just getting knocked everywhere.
Yeah, not ideal, but this is, I guess, what it looks like to get fed a tasty for a medicine, perhaps. Still, Dallas hard-fought control of that high ground. They do have it for the time being, which means that Doha now has a perch to pressure the backline. But Happy is still connecting these shots on the Doha, who's very close to another Dragon Strike here. Here's the sound barrier though, it looks like the Fuel are going to get serious, but Fearless is shattered, it's a solo shatter, Jungu with the charge, looks good and Fearless doesn't have any time to primal, he's hacked after he gets charged. That is a change CC nightmare.
Poor Fearless. He gets hacked in midair when he jumps all the way to the back, so then he's just trying to live, gets solo shattered, gets charged, and then after he gets charged
again,
maybe he's like, okay, well, I still have some teammates alive, maybe I'll primal, and he gets hacked before he can even do that. So man, times are tough there for Fearless.
I mean, I think the Outlaws have identified just how crucial Fearless is to the execution of Dallas's game plan. He hits into the back line here, and okay! He uses the Primal Rage, even though he has the damage reduction already from their Nano Boost there. Curious, hit with a Biotic Grenade now and has to be a little careful, but you know he's going to try and jump in when he can. Gets given a bubble, Jungu's in trouble. I mean, yeah, he's going to get knocked away there, and that shield finally is broken. Still Jungu's able to stay alive at the back of the point though, but Hanbin wants to grab. He wants Dante for dinner, and he'll have him. Piggy can't do too much about Hanbin being charged up on the point now. Defense Matrix doesn't do squat to that, and the Dallas Fuel get it done. But it costs them 3 minutes. 3 minutes is what it takes to get from point 2 to the end of the map.
Yeah, no magical Deadeye there from Happy at the end. See, he went for it. They recognized it straight away. But still, pretty good hold from the Houston Outlaws. Like you mentioned, that could have been way worse. You kind of add like 2 minutes and change to Dallas Fuel's clock when they got close to taking that second point. So Houston able to hold out for 2 minutes. We'll see what the Outlaws do on offense. Potential here for like a Widowmaker from Happy. Have not seen Widowmaker obviously yet today, but Widowmaker usually always kind of sees some type of play here.
Happy's tweeted at me that he thinks Widow's in a bad place. Okay, I'm not going to paraphrase it. He said buff Widow. She sucks. So we'll see about that one. He probably doesn't feel like she's in a great place. His McCree was, I mean, Happy was able to put pressure on Doha, who was playing Hanzo across the map. So aim not an issue for this gentleman. Were that a Widowmaker, that could have been a dead Hanzo.
Widowmaker player Happy says buff Widowmaker. Everybody else says please don't. I die constantly to Widowmaker.
Oh
so,
my.
Yep.
See you
later.
It's impassive. Maybe he doesn't realize what's happened, I think, until it comes up in the kill feed. But he's just like, yes, there's no doubt in the office. See you later, Fearless. See you, mate.
防衛側はもう攻撃側のやつワンピックするだけで守れちゃうからな。
I mean, Dallas Far is an interesting pick because you know they're not going to
ワンピック取りに行ってる。
like hit scan, right? I mean, it looks like it was just something that come out at the start.
Deep is still an issue, right?
開幕ワンピック取りに行ったけど。
See, Hanzo count with May in the mix here for the Outlaws.
マーシーはもう使われてないんだね。
Hanzo in play.
マップが弱いから。
ラッシュが流行ってるからだけで。バティルシの次に穴マシが今ヒーラー使用率だから上位だから。
まあマップ次第では穴回しが見れたりする。感じかな。
カウンターウルトがないから。
バティマーとかか。
Not even the healing. I mean, obviously Baptiste has a ton of healing, but you lose out on an immortality field, which is essential when you're trying to play these type of comps. As Hanbin, he's in a world of trouble.
チャージでオーバーキル。
Can I play again now?
I actually thought I thought he was gonna take him to the point where he was gonna live like even through it, right? When
Yeah,
you
if you don't
pin somebody
pin him,
as right
yeah.
hard, it just kind of ends the animation. Yeah.
He's just like, I mean, it's that meme where it's like the guy's face crying, but he's wearing a mask that has like just like a smiley face. Yeah, that's what it was right there. I don't think Hanbin was
Team's
having a
yelling
great
at him
time.
to reset, and he knows he has.
Frozen
What do you want me to do?
知らないんだよな。
Rappel from the higher ground here.
Lucio.
You see Juby there. Rappel opts to drop down here, I think, just to get the most value out of his shift as AoE heal. Here comes that payload just around the corner. Jungu looking for a shatter opportunity here, but an Ant Matrix might be what he walks into if he's not careful.
シャターがあるぞ。
But I mean, look how close Dante is to the Blizzard.
シャター誘ってんのが。
And then you're also going to have a dragon here to even separate players. Like you could use the dragon to separate and then try and get a shatter off of it. That would be a play potentially.
Simon's on the off angle, looking to maybe try and eat this Blizzard if possible. So okay.
マドファイアストライクでワンピク取りに行った。
Matrices for both teams.
お互い考えてるの一緒だな。
さすがにプロだからな。
See what they try. You see just Jungu getting to the cart. It looked like yep. Here's the dragon.
VC とか繋がってて。
Maywall.
壁ドラゴンってことこれ。
Jungu still wants a shatter, still not
ベドラゴンってことでもない
convinced,
し。
and here's the Blizzard now finally
そう
coming
いうわ
out
け
from
でない。
both of them actually.
壁でタイルなくして。
Like the frosty reception.
Everybody's frozen.
Doha steps back. He's able to get inside the immortality field and behind the shield of feeler. So a lot of ultimates traded here. Is this Goats? Sparkle down, self-destruct over the top. You and Jungu still has the Earth Shatter. He might have a chance to use it. Knocked to the ground there. Looked like it was a mutual charge. Jungu's still quite healthy though, and he knows he can pressure feelers without having to use the shatter, and he saves it. What patience from this man.
I mean, you see everybody live through those blizzards with the immortality fields out. The Lucio's also try to use speed to get everybody out of the way, but they virtually come out at the same time. So both teams like just frozen in the same space, not able to do much of anything. But really good push so far for the Outlaws. They'll be happy with another Dragon Strike for the next fight. You mentioned, Jungu's still with this Earth Shatter. I mean, maybe you try and use like Ant Matrix, break the shield, force them around the corner, get a shatter off. See what they decide to do. This will be an Ant Matrix that comes out from the Dallas Fuel first, and that's a dragon eaten there by
Hyman had to play quite close to Happy there. Might have been dueling on the high ground somewhat. You see Happy just dropped down there on your top right of screen. Hyman very pleased about that one. Here's another Ant Matrix, self-destruct, sound barrier for the Outlaws, here and out for the Fuel as well. Sparkle still has a Meteor Strike, but crucially, Earth Shatters are available. Jungu's able to find two with that one, but Sparkle has to get out of dodge. He pulls the plug on this, and now will drop into the back line. That's very aggressive. Great angle. It stops the damage radiating out from Juby's point of impact, but it's not enough to save Juby, who's on the wrong side of the wall and gets pasted to it.
ディーバ窓でダメージが上がるウルト
From the Dallas Fuel, they almost have to kind of play aggressive, right? If they let Happy just poke at range with the Hanzo, it's not going to be a good rest of the round here for Dallas. So they have to play close up. Sparkle and Hanbin and Co. taking the high ground. What would you even use up here for the Outlaws to try and get out? I mean, you just kind of have to like brute force your
Piggy
way.
Looks for
have immortality field around the corner.
Piggy looks for a knockdown. Happy looks for just some shield pressure here, and there you go. You force them off the high ground now. Maywall's thrown out by both sides. Fearless holding onto the shatter. Looking for it though, as Jungu also wants to bait it out a little bit. Repel goes down early. Happy finds a headshot. He was looking for it the whole time. And Fearless is forced to just throw that shatter in, and oh my, it doesn't go well for Dallas at the start of the fight, that's for sure. Hanbin gets DMX finally. Crimzo is doing a ton of work in the back. Happy, yeah, he'll deal with Jexa up close and personal, and now he'll back up a little bit. Sparkle's still a problem, but Happy fights him with the Storm Arrow. Excuse me, what the heck?
Well, the fight happened so far, like obviously towards the Outlaw spawn, that the Fuel are going to have everybody up to fight on this corner. So although they lose, not entirely a bad situation. You're almost in the same situation you were at originally, where you're able to just drop the Matrix, fight on the corner, and push them back again.
Time's starting to run out for Houston, though. They come into this phase with a similar amount of time on the clock. Great Dragon Strike just forces Dallas to the right of screen. Fearless is able to get back over the wall. The self-destructs find nothing. Crimzo, though, flattened by Sparkle as he jumps on in, but that looks like a, damage-boosted Fire Strike from Jungu. Jexa just catches that one there. He gets a little bit more than fried tips on the head. And here comes the cart, pushing in. Jexa has a sound barrier now, so the Fuel group together. They do not want to walk into this Earth Shatter now. I don't know if the Fuel have been able to track this particular ultimate. Happy's down early though, that's big. A Shatter again from Jungu doesn't find its mark, and here's the sound barrier.
お互いサンドバリア使って。
Outlaws are trying to back up there, Mitch. They were trying to get Crimso back in the action. He died early in that last fight. Even with those 2 kills, they kind of felt like they still needed Crimso in the fight to push the pace there. But sound barriers from both sides, not able to get anything happening there for Houston on the offense. Blizzard here for the Outlaws. They'll have the Ant Matrix available here from Repel, and then a Blizzard as well from the Fuel. Dallas looking really good to get a hold.
Blizzard's available for both sides here. Hanbin again on the off angle, just hoping that Dante tries to throw it in. And that will be a disengage here for the Outlaws. And Ant Matrix stays alive for just a little bit longer here, and no one from Houston wants to peek lest they catch a fire strike. See that Ant Matrix used as soon as they come around the corner. Jungkook's taking a bit of poke damage now, and into the back line comes Sparkle. Okay, he ends up with a Diva, not the target he wanted, so here's the Blizzard fired off, and Jungkook's caught. Can Fearless get there? He'll try and flash out her anyway. There's no Ryan Shield active, and over the edge goes Jungkook. Dexa gives him a helping hand, and the Outlaws have less than a minute left to finish the map.
Big shatter there from Fearless. Get some help. No
シャッターが入って、シャッター入って倒したところに ルシオがブープで落としたってことですか。
Coming back to this next fight, you'll have Ant Matrix. Dante goes over to the Sombra. Maybe just trying to get a hack on the Sparkle at the beginning. Get an easy first pick.
Oh, Jungkook, that's not good at all. 17 seconds left to the round. The
いや、
Outlaws
ここで
are
落ちてしまったのは
lucky.
で
The
か
main
い。
tank, Repel uses immortality.
Last
He'll quite
wave
happily
か。
there, and Sparkle is going to be able to get back in their face. Another Ant Matrix. This is going to be impossible for Houston. They're going to have to pull off something huge to make this happen. Self-destruct catches Domo. He doesn't realize it was caught under the walkway. The jump into the backside, and oh my gosh, Dante's on the card. Repel knows it, so does Fearless. They're traveling back now, but Repel gets hacked. Dante's forced off of it now and has to translocate away, but here comes Piggy. The reinforcements step up. Sparkle, though, punches the mech, and that little Piggy's going to mark it. He's going to wrap around the backhand side, but he doesn't make it all the way. He's demeched. And the Dallas Fuel, even up the series, they're bringing out the Rush Comp, and they look pretty darn good here on Kings Row.
And I tell you what, it was, I think, the aggression from Dallas, right? Once we started to see, like, Sparkle and the rest of the team play close, get aggressive with that Doomfist, and not let the Outlaws be the one who kind of dictated the pace of play, that's when you started to see the Dallas Fuel really take over. So, if you're going to keep playing that Doomfist, you know, as the maps go by, that's what you're going to need to see for the Dallas Fuel to keep getting these wins.
It feels like, I mean, especially on a map like that, especially where Hanzo is still an option, that the lack of long-range hit scan potential for the Dallas Fuel doesn't really seem to hurt them yet, or at least it hasn't. Maybe in a world we get Widowmaker going up against Hanzo, and maybe, you know, Hanzo struggling a little bit as a result of that. It might be a different story, but coming into halftime, we are one apiece on the scoreboard. The Fuel bring it back and promise for a fantastic series to follow. Stick around, we got more from the Battle for Texas here, our opener in the Overwatch League 2021 after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renter's insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
ドラゴンキスのマジスーパープレイでしょ。
ね。あ、出た。花村のラーメン屋。
花村のラーメン屋ってわからな。波平ぐらいだと思うよ。
そうなの。ラーメン屋突してよくお世話になってる。
リーチに来た。
来た。
あれ。
はい、もしもし。
おう、聞こえるよ。
ちょっと待ってよ。聞こえますかね？
聞こえるよ。
それはよかった。もうちょっと。こんなもんでいいだろう。で、違う。 何今、広告中かよ。
うん。
今、広告中。ちょうど今、キングスロー終わったとこだね。
キングスローすごかったな。
ダラスとどこやってたんだっけ？
ダラスとアウトロース。
アウトロー。あ、ヒューストンのチームか。1-1じゃん。
1-1。最初に、どこでやったんだっけあれ。プサンか。プサン2-1でアウトロール勝って。
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
48万ポイント出た。
The official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
何が？
あ、あれだ、チームです。
Do you feel like something is
チームです。
missing? You used to be top tier, but lately you've been lacking that legendary feeling. Are your skins and sprays default? Overwatch League perks by T-Mobile may be right for you. By connecting your YouTube account with your Battle.net account, you can start earning great Overwatch League perks, like League tokens to spend on legendary skins, as well as sprays and Overwatch League skins by just tuning into tournament matches. With Overwatch League perks, you can get back to doing what you love. Dumpstering randoms in Diamond. And doing it in style. Ask your doctor about linking your accounts today. Overwatch League perks by T-Mobile. They make everything better. Isn't that right, Reinhardt-looking, yogurt-eating stock footage guy?
That's right, nerds. For opening weekend, you can earn 5 league tokens for every hour you watch, and a spray designed by our very own desk host, Zoe Schwind, for watching 4 hours all weekend. 4 hours, guys. 4 hours. Listen, half of you probably watched Josh be terrible at Pokemon Emerald for like 3 times that length of time. 4 hours is all you need to do, right? Attention spans at the maximum here, and get yourself a fantastic spray. It looks awesome, by the way. It's Tracer and Wrecking Ball. Zoe had to actually go on record and say, actually, it's not me in this spray, it's Tracer and Wrecking Ball. But it looks awesome. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, every time I think I'm like good at something, Zoe just
okay. You didn't think you were good at that.
You just okay. Is there anything that Zoe can do better than me? And I think I've come to the conclusion now. We take a look at their Indeed player resume here for Sparkle. He's been huge in this series on the Doomfist. One where you thought potentially Dante would be able to counter him with the Sombra. In the last map, at least on King's Row, Sparkle was tremendous.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're talking about maybe how this team's affected by a lack of a hit scan. We also know that Rush is like, we don't really, feel like we necessarily need like a star Tracer, you know what I mean? And again, the composition, the fuel, playing, it worked for them on King's Row. But let's be fair, this is going to be a close series. This is going to be an absolute slugfest. Fielder comes back in here for Jexa. We saw Jexa obviously playing a decent amount of Ana already. I'm like, oh, it's a good time to be an Ana, man. I'm feeling so good. Obviously, we saw Fielder play a little bit of that Moira as well. With limited results, but again, it's an unchanged lineup here for the Houston Outlaws. Dante showed us some of that Sombra prowess. It really made life quite hard at times to Sparkle.
全員顔が出るっていうのもいかがなものかと思う。
And I want to see what Dallas pulls.
イケメンならどう
To not any type of like hit scan on Havana would be
いかにもゲームしてますって感じの顔で。
unless they play. What they probably do is play really close.
イケメンは
まず星見ぐらい。
And then probably just take consistent fast fights on the corner.
Here's your map leaderboard presented by Xfinity. Some of the fastest times on Havana and Fuel can boast one of those against Washington.
でもリーガーでもかっこいい人がいる。
4K, calm down everybody. 2 minutes 55 seconds in their time bank, and well, the Outlaws are on the wrong
Houston
end of
can
one of
boast
these.
for one as well.
Yeah.
Houston can boast for the
No,
top
we didn't
one.
highlight that because we're trying to be
that's-
positive, Matt, but we may as well just point it out. Houston got
レッドシェルっていうね、
yeah,
外国の
it
ね、
didn't go well. 3 minutes
オーバーウォッチストリーマーだけど、ルシオ使いがいるんだけど、バカイケメン。
because it's a long map and honestly trying to get the last phase of the map done can
そう
be
ね
very difficult for attackers.
若い頃のブラピと、あと、
Obviously, you know,
ピューディパイを
like I
足して
mentioned,
2で割ったみ
really
たいな。
long sight lines on this map, Matthew, and you feel like Dallas, you know, if they're not going to go towards a hit scan option, do you feel like Hanzo is still acceptable for them to try and play on the attacking side if they don't want to play super close, or rather, if they can't play super close early?
ハバナ嫌いだわ。
I think Hanzo seems to
パラ弱いここ。開けすぎて、砂マップだもん。だから嫌いだ。
No, it's literally
最初の
pin
大きい
arrow
通
on
りとか
the
ね。
position play. You may as well be blindfolded. I'm
あ
just
そ
going
こ
to be
危
straight
険
with
だ
you.
よな。
You don't have to aim.
You do have to aim. That,
ジャンクラ
I've
使
been
って
hurt too
る
many。times, Matt.
yeah,
片手に
yeah, I can tell Hanzo's
振り切
has
って
been
に
making you
3立てですね。 3立て。3立
So
てに
interesting,
バ
at
テ
least
に
from the start, it looks like Dallas not going to play that close corner. And they're going
ス
to play
ナ
up
イパー
top
対
with
策か
double
な、
shield.
源氏
So
は。
Arisa plus Sigma, and then they'll have the Hanzo for some long range
あ、
pressure.
向こうが2立てだって分かってこっちも2立てにしてるね。
Interesting composition
見
for
立
the
ての時点で結構砂通せないけどね。
Tracer Widow.
ウィードを使って
See
る
if。Happy's able to find any sight lines. Probably going to be under a lot of pressure from
ワンピック取る気だよ。
Sparkle definitely needs
一
to put
発
this
当てて
pressure on Happy because if he goes uncontested, I mean, there will be problems for Dallas. Still, I mean,
トレーサーが早くも下に潜り込んで狩りに来た。で、上取ってるね。あそこの反対側取るんだ。面白い。
Driving a wedge between Dallas, if I'm honest with you here. You can see the off-angle Sigma, something we saw a lot of last year.
そういう挟み方するんだ。
Both the Brigitte and the Genji. So Sparkle just looking for the best opportunity to go in here and maybe find a Zenyatta kill early. Kinetic grasp there. Okay, big deflection. Look at the damage on the front line of the Outlaws. They've got to back away for a bit, especially now they lost Dante.
もろくなるか
Dante
ら
was on a little bit of a flank, just trying to find one player he could
縦
isolate.
一
But
枚一枚は
Dallas
そんな
literally
硬
splits
い
their
わけ
team
じゃ
in
ないから
half. You know, you have the Sigma, Brig, and Genji on one side of the choke, and then the rest of the team on the other. And I think Houston, when they got to the corner, they just didn't really know where they wanted to go. They had no idea where they wanted to put the pressure
タック
on.
起きてんじゃん。
It's a little bit odd of a setup.
Happy. Ever the trapeze artist as he tries to get a high angle. Fearless cops a headshot there
なん
from
で
Happy. And Dante now wants to try and compound the issue. Good quick healing there, thrown on towards Fearless, otherwise that could have been a problem. The immortality field had to be used. There's an amplification matrix in play, but despite that, Jungu falls to Doha. Again, the fulcrum for the Outlaws has been removed, and Piki not far behind. Doha is ruining people on Hanzo.
やっぱ源氏は借りに行ってる
Jungu
んで
tried
しょ
to。turn the corner, and you saw Doha there, like wall climbing right above his head, just firing arrows down as Sparkle on cleanup duty towards the end of the fight.
凄まじい追跡だな。
ね、絶対殺すマンしてる。
さすがにやっぱ時間取りすぎだな。帰っていった。
Let's be honest, it's where all the soldier players, you know, migrated to after he struggled to sort of have impact. Now that's changed, but yeah, I mean, credit to Dante. I've seen plenty of Tracer players take that duel and try and eliminate one of those supports if they can, but he has a pulse bomb and he wants to have a chance to use that in the next fight. Maybe Hanbin's option. Fielder goes for the rally, and it's not going to be a connection on the pulse bomb. Jungu's gone down once more, and the Outlaws need to keep
交際
it
使
in
っ
a row. They
て
can't even keep their tanks in the
龍
fight.
剣で1枚切ってるね。俺は
Only one with the blade, but still, it
交際
always feels good to see Sparkle
切れ
pull out.
てすぐ勝ったのか。
You always
そういうことだ。
expect big things to happen. Yeah, once he pulled it out, I was like, this is going to be here, and then after.
パルスボムに対して交際使ったのかな。
So,
だろう。
happy with the change off of Widow. Like you mentioned, really difficult to kind of get any sight lines. Goes to
まんまと
McGreat
狙われた
Missile,
ね。ウ
obviously.
ルト3枚あるし。
Help protect the team against Sparkle's Genji.
スーパーチャージャー。
ドラゴン来て、うわ、いいストップ。
Fire strike's too good. Oh, the hole. Kinetic grasp doesn't do much against the Dragon Strike that is already matured. Great year on that one. Yeah, real fine stuff from the Dallas Fuel. And Doha now starting to take things over. Fearless having to move into less of a, I guess, a flashy role here.
かなり前出てきたね。
On towards the four-legged destructor, but again, there's no shortage of stars on this Dallas Fuel roster. Trust me, they were paid for.
2
畳いってんじゃん。
He almost got away from that Dragon Strike, but a really nice halt from Fearless, even with the Immortality field there, brought him right outside of it, enough to finish him off. As Gravitic bluffs from Honda, this will be on a Piggy in the street. You see Sparkle there trying to put pressure on him. Nice Immortality field to keep him alive. Not enough though, as Repel will take him out.
Not enough, but now it's not available for the rest of the fight.
マートで
Maybe slight
朝真夜
overextension
前
there.
みん
They
な
could
や
have
られ
been
ていく
really punishing for
うわ
Houston.
えぐっ
エグマー
So
ト
early, but the
質
fuel
ないマート
try and double down, and Happy says, "Come to me. I've got the flash. I'm ready to deal with you." When Dante
一
descends,
発逆
the
転
fuel may have an opportunity here to go for another attempt at a
ウルト
hold.
1枚しか
And
使
this
って
is
ないん
the
だよ
Outlaws' last chance to make real ground on this
バー
map.
ティストのあでもオリサ使ってそうだな
So if the fuel come out, you see they're moving towards that left-hand door. They'll be able to use
2
Rally
枚しか使ってない
plus... Oh, that's a huge pick. But maybe you still use Rally plus Blade here if you get it.
1枚取れたのクソで
But
か
you
い
still have the Immortality field to work with. That'll be the Rally. Let's see if they decide to invest the Blade
入れ
as
るか
well when it comes.
Pulse
bomb used there.
Not
Fearless down. You may as well say
ここで取り切らないとやばい
he got taken down by the Deadeye and Gravitic Flux combo.
さすがに
The
取れるか
Outlaws came to play. They were ready to leverage all of the ultimates
パ
that
ル
they
スのワン
had
ピックやば
to
い
stay in the map, and it makes sense. They'll get a time extension. 2 and
マ
a
ート
half
と
minutes.
交際がある
And now we head through the
Yeah.
distillery.
And we'll see how Dallas's composition works here at
こ
this
っちゃんミュ
stage
ー
of
ト
the
にな
map.
ったよ
No, I feel like
そうなっ
Houston
てる
with the McCree now
なってた
able to get some high ground. There's not a lot of open space here where Sparkle can like isolate a player and you know make a play.
そ
Go
う
for it.
わすごい今ヘッシュを受けるためにサッて下向いてた
Have a little bit of an advantage.
And Matrix here. Good kinetic
下
grasp.
向い
This
て
is
た
going
ら
to
ヘッショ
allow
の
the
面
Outlaws
積
to get
狭
out
く
of
なる
that line of fire. They'll pick the left hand
ヘッ
side
シ
though.
ュ
as
ヘッシュっていうかね後ろ向いて下向くとね頭当たんないんだよ
goals. Statistics now has.
ホックでジュース飲むときとかそうした方がいい
There as well. Sparkle the blade.
交際
Absolutely.
入って
Looks
一
like
気に
this
押す
corner
つもり
で
だ
ああすごいねドラゴンで
Happy
一気に
headshot.
これ分断したけど
No bueno for Genji players.
いやこれダラスが上取ってんのが強いね
Down here from the
ね
fuel.
なかな
Supercharger
か
up
こう
top.
固まっちゃ取り返せないからね
Houston's
あ
moving
で
the
ここ上取り行くのすごいいいね
no
マフィ
opportunity to get any big damage off of it as they get a
お
really
くそ
ground
やばいおお
Some damage here. Hanmin is completely out of position. Tough to play the off-angle signal
Super
when there's a McCree
charger.
that creeps up on you. And again, it'll be the Outlaws to come forward
こ
here.
の
And
現状として
Supercharger finally been
ブリ
removed.
ーっ
A
てもいい
lot of
場
value
所
was
だね
gained from that now. And the Outlaws, they breeze through the second phase of the map.
絶
Pretty much
妙に
erasing
邪魔しに行って
any
る
of the
ね
issues they had early on. They set themselves up now, Matt, with a decent amount of time to try and actually finish this map.
B の DPS クソ
Well,
う
I
まい
mean, this part of the
いや
map
上
and then
取
the
りに行くの
last
す
part
げえうまい
is
わ
really where you can utilize like your hit scan and not have to worry about you know getting flanked and
あ
all
あだ
the
ったら
different
なかな
angles
か
from
落と
against
せない
you.
よね
You know,
話し
hit
てた
scan
5
obviously
秒
very
後ぐらいに取ら
strong
れ
at
て
the beginning part of
よ
the
いし
map.
ょすごい落とし方だなウルトも絶妙だったねスーパーチャージャーが
室内にシグマのウルトが刺さってる
Starts things off with
えぐうわ瞬時計
パマード
I don't think the Harbin was ready for that at all. The Outlaws really able to turn on a dime there. And now the pressure comes from the other direction. Piggy plays that high ground. Doha needs to respect these high speeds, otherwise he's going to be in a war.
エイムえぐ
And in fact, they just feed in here to try and slow the Outlaws down. But the cart's been moving.
良すぎやろ
Dante is the conductor on this hype train. And will be transcendence up for the Outlaws for the next fight.
And Happy goes over to Hanzo, able to
もう
access
交際
some
溜ま
of
っ
the
てる
high
ぞ
ground here as you get towards the later
交際
portion
マ
of
フ
the
リが半蔵になったんだ
That
ね
fielder going to have a rally. They could kind of
そう
do
だ
what
ね
they tried at the beginning of point A was to like rally and blade potentially.
バティ強いんだよね上だとねサポートピック率ナンバーワンなんだよね
Sparkle has to use the dash, get out of
死
the
なない
way.
ボタンがやっぱ強いんだろうな死なないボタン
普通に考えてOP なんだよね
You have to temper your
やばいよ
expectations
な
because you're dealing with an
うん
amp. Sorry, a
普通におかしい
and transcendent and
死にませんって保証されるのおかしい
looks like a hold
生
set
命
now.
保険
Nicely done by Spark.
だいぶ弱体が来るけど
Things
な
up and some.
それでも死なないのは強い
Water down for Houston. And suddenly,
10%
all that momentum, it's gone.
普通に多分回復追いつかないと思うよ
あ
Even though
3
Doha
人
gets
以
picked
上
off
になる
first,
と
they
も
counter back with a rally, they push on
う回
forward.
復
でもその今置かれてる間死なないっていうのが強いわけであってさ最悪その間に決めりゃいいじゃんラッシュとかってさそういうコンセプトなわけだしうわ今の岩えぐ
やばい岩
ナイパーじゃん。
キモすぎ。
スナイパーでしょ。
笑ってるよ。
やば。さあ、龍拳入ってる。スーパーチャージャーを先に壊しに行く。
エンジニアが頭抜いてますよ。スタック。これは
決定でしょ。
オーバータイムで、はい、うわ、でもまだ粘る。
元気に粘ってる。あ、でもこれもキリスト。
火力が。
And Sparkle cannot touch the Outlaws. They break through just when they look like they might have run out of steam. I gotta see the distance on that halt accretion again. I mean, that was, you know, Steph Curry pulls up from 30 feet away. Piggy pulls up from, you know, the parking lot. I mean, that was way downtown.
第一で止まっちゃうかなとかって思ったけど。
It's tremendous.
室内まだ強すぎでしょあれ。
He's quite far away. The accretion comes flying through the air, and that first pick. That's two fights though.
2倍だからな。ダメージ計算狂うよな。ちょってなるもんね。いつもやってても。
しかも室内だからすぐに出れないって。
ミラースフェルスの攻めですけど、バティマ選んでますね。で、ディーバボール。で、ヒューストンの方は、
ラッシュ構成だね。
ラッシュだね。まんまラッシュだわ。やっぱラッシュ今流行ってんだよね。うちもやりたいわ、正直。やばすぎ、ストップ今やばい。
これうますぎ。
キモい。
これやばいでしょ、ほんと。
やばいな。あ、やっぱ前守りすんだよね、ここ。ここ前守り本当に強いんだよね。しかもここファラマめっちゃ強いんだよね。前守りすると。この倉庫の上でね、イチャイチャできんの、いろいろ。
いやー、それ嫌がられそう。
マジ出るとこ枯れるから、それが強い。
こっちがラッシュ構成って分かって、変えてきた。
あ、本当だね。
ラッシュとラッシュのぶつかり合い。お互いワンピック取ってる。
ハルトにフォーカスしてるの。飛び方がすごいな。
ディーバ落ちたぞ。
キャラコンがえぐいわ。ルシオ。
時間稼ぐっていう意味では前守りは成功したから。
そういうことで、もう一回当たれるもんね、これ。それ強いな。これやっぱペイロードのルールならではの発想だよ。
がっつり上取りってる。
Try and get an early first pick. Not a lot of poke damage here for Dallas, so tough to pressure Jungkook's shield as he's able to move up.
Pretty closely.
Okay, that might help the poke damage a little bit. The fire strike through the air matrix doesn't find much, and the Outlaws reciprocate here. Peering at each other through these windows. That's a real COVID move if I've ever heard one. Dante is going to be a step out of the blizzard still. Yep, okay, tries to get the freeze on Fearless. Is able to connect it, but there's a sound barrier in play for Fielder here. Earth Shatter. No real connection there as the Outlaws are able to backstep a little bit now. Doomfist of Sparkle doesn't find its mark. Eventually, something's got to give. Fielder is the first to fall. Happy starting to find these kills.
このウェブはヒューストンが勝ったわけですけど。
2回目で勝ちゃいいよね。
Everything really used by the Houston Outlaws to get control of the cart yet again. They just had Juby's sound barrier.
いい選手バカ歯並び悪いよ。俺と同じぐらい悪かった今見たけど。
強制すんの忘れな。
ちっちゃい頃に強制しときゃよかったわ。
強制高いからな。
長いこと時間かかるじゃん。じゃあ俺本来出っ歯なのにね、前歯が後ろに下がってるっていう驚異の現象のガチャ歯。
ガチャ型のガッチャガチャ。
But let's see them do it now, right? where there's a little bit more high ground for the McCree to work on. He's not as easy of a target, playing on the same plane as everybody else. So now the Outlaws can just really play up on the high ground around this McCree. See if Happy can start dominating the game.
Deadeye forces all of the fuel back. Again, that Lucio utility means that it's tough to catch people inside a Deadeye unless they're suspended aloft inside a gravitic flux or something similar. Doha, yeah, okay, respectful of the May damage here as Dante's keep him on his toes. Houston split a little bit here.
ディーバー全く狙われてないじゃん。
He's ready to catch maybe
あ、違うわ。
whatever
味
really.
方だっけ。
Nothing big for Dallas. I don't know if the Outlaws have tracked an
そこで
almost Dallas fuel so
出て
far,
くる
but
ファイアス
that
タイ
May
ルみん
will
な
field
消
is
してた。
not really sure where he is right now, and Dallas is still able to get away once more.
A few ultimates here from the Outlaws to just push the Dallas fuel back. First it was the Deadeye with the speed boost. That time Ant Matrix's Sparkle has worked his way up to the high ground, trying to go on a little bit of a rollout play here. That'll be the Blizzard from Dante.
Not many people from Dallas really get caught in that one. Looks like Rappel is in there. Crimson playing from a safe angle is able to definitely dodge the Earth Shadow that came down. In fact, all of Outlaws seem to be able to avoid it. But still, it's Sparkle getting rid of Dante. A crucial kill here. Dante must have been knocked up in the air and removed there by the fist gun. The Dallas Fuel now have a sound barrier to bring into the next fight here. The Outlaws switch. It's Dante going over towards the Sombra. Sparkle's becoming too much of an issue for them.
Yes, this has really been their counter.
速い速い、足が速い。
becomes a little bit too much.
あ、そう、展開、あ、早い。あ、一気に上取り返した。
あ、やっぱもういきなりエンゲージしたの。ジュストも返してるわ。
It's a later sound barrier for the Outlaws, but many of their players lose that overshield quite early. Fearless is hacked, but he's standing inside an immortality field. Into the back line, once more gets rid of Happy. Not quite the green that he was looking for, I'm sure. And this will put the Dallas Fuel now within spitting distance of the Outlaws as a result on this map. Maybe a chance for some stall here at the end of this second phase, but Dallas once more will be on the road.
完全に待ってましたって感じだったよ
You
ね。
get another fight here if you're the Outlaws. You have Dante in the mix as he's getting closer to an EMP.
Your first play to respawn is
Will you get enough players here to get a touch? You're gonna have the Lucio though coming back.
Okay, Dante's here as well.
You might be able to make a play here if you're the Outlaws. Try and
Dante
get a touch.
doesn't want to be the first to the fight if he can help
sure,
it, I
yeah.
think. Hanbin able to stave off the hack there. Is a self-destruct in the middle. Fearless trying to dodge away. He's actually able to use the car.
Oh, EMP.
Damage from the explosion, but Sparkle's not nearly as lucky. The Outlaws come back in, and that's a 4-player EMP, and there's nothing Dallas can do about it. Now things get just a little scary for them as they go under a minute left, and they've got to get the card. Another 10 or so meters.
取り返した。
A huge self-destruct there from Piggy, able to take out Sparkle, and like I mentioned, they're able to get another touch. They tried to get a Maywall to split players off, you know, but really kind of isolate that left doorway, so they couldn't get through, get to touch the cart, but Houston able to get their main tank on it, Junggu, and then the big self-destruct. EMP comes right after. They're able to take that fight. 27 seconds left here for Dallas. They do have some ultimates, though, to push them over the line.
This Blizzard needs to connect. Piggy will be looking to try and have that one for breakfast. Let's see if the Dallas Fuel have enough in their lunch to blow this house down. Boosted fire strike.
ハック入った。
Gets hacked on the low ground, though, but Sparkle still wants to try and go in. He doesn't have the Divas to
そう、ソンブラもね、結構強いんだよね、ラッシュだと。
There's the Blizzard, very much his owning ultimate, I'll be honest with you. But Junkie goes down now. Deadeye from Happy comes up with absolutely nothing, and now he has to do it the old-fashioned way. Stand and deliver, as he needs to stand on the cart physically. He won't quite get that far, though, as the Fuel are able to clean the Outlaws up and continue to play the map.
Not the worst thing though for Houston. They drain the clock there
from
point A to point B. Now only a minute and 20 for the Fuel to complete the map. Not a lot of time.
1分半でここ取り切るの辛いわ。
You can push up. You can start to use some of your ultimates more aggressively because the Fuel they need.
このチョークマジめんどくさいんだよね。
And Matrix, the walls up there. Piggy has to use that defense matrix as well as he possibly can. Cart is on the move though. Just forces the Outlaws away. So big Lucio ultimates exchanged in this fight, but the Outlaws don't really want to practice right now until at least gets in there with a gigantic EMP. That is 6 players lights out for Dallas.
It's massive. I mean, all of the Dallas Fuel players have to play in this open space, right? You're playing a brawly type of composition, trying to get everybody to the cart, you know, push on forward, use the Lucio speed, and Dante will land a massive EMP, which stops Dallas right in their tracks. As Houston Outlaws, they'll have a Deadeye to push people out of the way. Sing with the self-destruct, big ultimates here in this open space.
Jungu down early, not a good sign for the Outlaws here. They may have an amplification matrix in play, but they lack the defensive capacity to avoid this damage. Dante having to play around the little castle there. But again, it's ready to stall, and they've managed to put Dallas Fuel in perpetual overtime. This is dangerous for the boys in blue. They have key ultimates to spend, but they step off the payload mat, and it's all over for Havana.
Yeah, and obviously a huge spawn advantage here for the Outlaws. They're going to be able to control the high ground. Look at Dallas. They take the fight right to him. Ant Matrix, you have the Blizzard coming in. As they know they cannot allow the Outlaws to set up on that high ground.
It has to be an immortality field for Rappel to keep him alive, and that's probably a decent decision because there are teammates that need
Dante
healing.
With an EMP coming
Can he get to the point though? That's the question.
Yeah,
Look at how far the Fuel are pushed up on that left hand
Yeah.
side. It's a wrecking ball, another 5-player EMP and Fielder gets blown up. Yes, you almost had a Soundbayer available, but now the Lucio is off the table for the Dallas Fuel, and so made their odds of taking this round. Piggy just trying to keep himself scarce and not get frozen up if he can help it, but eventually he has to succumb to hypothermia. Happy trying to play around the edges.
いや、わかんねえよ、まだ。
The Outlaws don't have a shield tank in play, still able to avoid the explosion. Another one for Dante, and the Outlaws, they have taken the match.
激アツだ
They
わ。
get themselves in match point position there after a really competitive Havana.
And the EMP is huge from Dante at the end. Dallas Fuel, they realize they cannot allow the Outlaws to set up on the high ground. They push forward, they use the M-Matrix and the Blizzard to get control of it. They end up losing Sparkle towards the end of that on the Doomfist, but Dante knows that all he has to do is get a touch force OT, they come out on the wrecking ball, and he's got an EMP, connects with 5 players, everybody up there towards the end for the Dallas Fuel.
それ立ち回り次第だ。ソンブラって結構立ち回りキャラなんだ
They'll
よ。
be taking a quick breather here, as will we as we step aside for a moment, but Outlaws fans be happy
ダメージだな。
to break the drought here in this battle for Texas. The Outlaws are up 2-1.
打ってダメージ出さないとダメなんだな。
ちょこちょこ後ろ回るだけじゃ多分ダメなんだよね。もちろん後ろにヘイト向かせるのも大事だけど、正面だったりサイドだったり。
難しいな。
ソンブラ本当に難しいキャラだしね。
ジャンカータウンじゃん。
負けの多いキャラでもあるんですよ。
ハリウッドの待機場所だ。なんだろう、どこのだろう、これ。次のマップなんだろうな。
どこなんだろう。ハリウッドとか見たいけど。
ね。
ハリウッド66となんだ。アイヘンバルデあたりが見たいわ。
アイヘンバルデは見たいわ。確かに。
好きなマップだけ見たい。
ファラ使ったりしないのかね。
どうなんだろうな。まあ、ファラはグラマス勝率6割超えぐらいのキャラらしいけど、多分それがオーバーウォッチリーグで。
別物なんだな。
さすがにリーガーの
エイムじゃ
あれでしょ。
なさそうないから。
ファラ飛んでられないでしょ。
飛ばないファラみたいな。
ジャンクラットだから。
To beat the field would be really nice. I actually genuinely want to crush them. I think they're very overrated, and I believe in our team to be able to take them down. Here's a message to the fuel. There's no amount of money that can save you now.
I mean, Matt, let's be honest. Crimzo, obviously, it's pretty well documented that times on fuel for him were tough, and I'm quite sure he's relishing this opportunity. Also, the stab about the money balling, I kind of feel that, you know what I mean? No amount of money can buy you a win, or whatever it was that he said. That's nasty.
Well, look, it wasn't working what Dallas was doing, so you may as well try and just get the best team you possibly can. I mean, what other things could they have done, right? But you definitely feel like there's a little bit extra into this match.
I mean, and sure, it probably goes both ways. I mean, we don't exactly have, you know, like Jexa and Rappel on tape being like, yeah, we hate you, Outlaws. You know, it's actually quite curious that we have these two teams that have such an established rivalry, and they also have a fair bit of cross-pollination between them in terms of players, despite how diametrically opposed their fan bases have been. So I'm sure that's probably an interesting conundrum for some fans to sort of deal with. But so far, I mean, this series has absolutely delivered. The players took a quick break, so they're getting back in their chairs right now. But really feels like, Matt, at the end of Havana, Dante causing so many problems on that Sombra with some really high-value EMPs is what stopped the fuel in their tracks.
Yeah, I mean, just the hacks from Dante are huge, but those big EMPs, right? That's what ends up winning them the map, especially that one at the end. We do have a sub, Jexe, coming in for Rappel here. We did see Fielder play some Lucio on that map. Now you actually see Jexe coming in. He'll probably play the Lucio, probably more of a full-time here. As the next map is Volskaya. Trying to get through those chokes. You almost need the Lucio, kind of mandatory, the compositions we see.
I mean, when we sort of talked to Watchpoint at the start of the match, I was like, look, I really don't think that the tank line comparison is reasonable here. I think that Dallas are a little bit ahead in that regard. But I feel like, you know, Fearless on the Orisa, we saw him, and then Fearless on the Reinhardt. It's a little bit hard for him to have that sort of same level of impact as he has on the Winston. How do you take the temperature of this sort of tank line battle so far? Who do you think's got the edge?
I mean, it's so tough, especially in these matchups. Like, there's so much that tanks don't have control over sometimes, especially like when it comes to like May walls and, you know, Ant Matrix, Immortality field placement. There's a lot, and even just kind of with Doomfist in the mix, right? Just general displacement. That when you're a tank, you're really kind of in the best position to succeed, and then you have to have a lot of other factors around you kind of go the right way. That also factor into your decision making. Really impressed with what we've seen from Jungwoo and Piggy, and also with Hanbin and Fearless. The way it's looking right now, these could be two of the better tank lines in it.
I mean, it's interesting to see such a variety, I feel, of different compositions when, you know, we obviously talked about this, and, you know, a lot of the word around the community was that we should expect to see sort of Reinhardt Rush and then double bubble compositions respectively, but instead we've gotten, you know, Winston Diva. We've also seen, you know, Orisa Sigma compositions. We're seeing everything right now.
I was going to say that too. We've seen so many different comps today. I was even thinking about when we were watching Fearless and he was in the spawn on Wrecking Ball. I was like, we've already seen him play Reinhardt. We've seen him play Winston. We've seen him play Orisa. Like, a lot of just diversity in terms of what you can play here. It's huge. As we see, we're waiting on Sparkle and Fearless to get sat back down. Then we can jump right back into game. But yeah, a lot of different compositions, not just Rush. It seems like Rush seems to be like the fallback composition for a lot of teams in certain situations, but definitely open to having more things in the meta than I had originally anticipated with what
I feel like we're seeing it also defensively pretty frequently, right? Teams really kind of want to have that Batiste in the mix when they're sort of playing corners or trying to make use of that Reinhardt here, and you know, especially for the fuel, we've sort of seen them mix it up and, you know, try and go for some more dive-oriented setups here. I'm just, you know, surprised. I thought we'd really only see the Diva with the Reinhardt, but she's getting a ton of play right now in general. And listen, I think a lot of people coming into this series maybe didn't know what to expect from Juvie, or maybe underrated him slightly. But look, this is one of the first, I want to say, the first player who's come out of collegiate directly into an Overwatch League team. Now, I know played in that tier of competition, played a bunch of contenders as well, but Juvie was on Harrisburg.
正しいリズムで生活してきたからクソ眠いわ今。
よく落ちたな。あの時間に波平。
あ、2時あれなんだよね、実はさ、10時ぐらいからサッカー部のアモンガスやってたんだよね、ずっと。
そうなの？
そう。
こんばんは。
あれ誰今の？
こんばんは。
誰だ？
誰だ？
ちょっと待って。わかんない。ディスコの使い方が全然この挟んだ。素敵だ。
俺、何もせずに抜けるけど。そうなの？わかんない。
わかんないけど。
わかんない。
どっちでもいいや。
わかんない。でも俺オーバーウォッチやってないから多分お初じゃないよ。お初は逆だわ。ごめん。ちょっと脳みそバグってる。ごめんね。逆です。ごめんね。ちょっと。そう。ごめん。ちょっと。バカだからさ。ちょっと。
大きすぎて狂ったか
な。そう。まあ、用はないけど、来ただけだからバイバイ。
バイバイ。
バイバイ。これどこだこれ？ボールスカイインダストリーか。
嫌い、このマップは。
ここもファラやりづらいから。
やりづらいから。防衛はマシやけど、ちょっと攻めは辛い。どうやって詰めたらいいのか俺全然わかんない。イライラする。ソルジャーも弱いここ。防衛しかできない。
流星さんが使いたいキャラみんな弱い。
そう、出して使えない。
トレーサーそこ乗れるんだ。
本当だ。
ドラスモイラ採用してますね。
だいぶにモイラか。
さっきもこの編成だったね。だいぶヒーラー、ルシモイラだった。ビッグ阻害じゃね？
あ、ソンブラ落ちちゃった。足滑らしたね。
ドーハ落ちた。
いや、これさすがに。
うまいな。
いや、エコ暴れすぎ。
あ、お前ら落ちた。
頭入っちゃったね。ヒーラー落ちだからかなり。
これ楽しそうだな。使えるようになりたいな。
あ、落ちた。
You know, a little bit of a tick here, but that went wrong. I mean, it looked really good for the Dallas Fuel, and then they took it a little bit too far. Happy forced to play the
low down. Now he's the left fielder,
no pulse bomb to interrupt it this time.
for
people to try and heal him. Maybe
ミラー早いから。ソンブラコピー。
さあ、EMP を。あ、ハックされた。
あと2秒。いやー、使いたかった。
使いたかったね。
いやー、使えなかった。ギリ使えなかったわ。さあ、ナノブーストが溜まるぞ。あそこまで押し込まれて持ち直すんだな。ここで戦ってたらさ、なんか俺らのランク代だったらなんか一人くらいエリアにいそうだけど誰もいないんだよね。 あ、3分の1取れた。さあ、全員落としにかかる。
さすがに取れそうだ。
EMP で。
ディーバにナノついたね。
2枚押してる、3枚押してる。
I've got teammate.
They spend heavily on their ultimates that they've done on this team, and they get results.
ウルトが3つもある。まあ、自爆がお互いあるね。
デスブロどう刺すかが気になるよな。ウィンスハック。
サンドバリアで耐えたのかな、これ。ディーバのやつは。ルシオ落ちた。デスブロは HP8 だと使いにくい。
さすがにやられるな、これは。ブリギッテは強いわ。これもエラキル。残党がリックなんだな。あ、そう、ディーバの本体めっちゃいじめてる。バカ煽ってる。
これは精神的なダメージがでかい。
くそ煽るよ、マジ。
やばいな。
クリムゾンバカ煽るもん。やばすぎ。鬼やろ。
ダメ押しスリープだったね。ソンブラがハックされて。エコでコピーしたのか。
完璧するか。完璧する気だな。さすがにソンブラ帰ったね。さあ、ハックがサポート入ってます。ルシオさすがにやられるな。
モイラーフェードが出る。ああ、戻ったね。
これピンチっすね。
ゴリラもハックされて苦しそう。
こうなるともう無理か。やっぱディーバがいると。
Used to take him out, but man, he was so close to the EMP, 96%. When he dropped there, is that really almost kind of decides the point. Once that happens, Dallas is able to just kind of run through Houston and take point B. So 2 minutes and 14 on the clock here for Dallas in the bank. Pretty good time there for the Dallas Fuel. Let's see what Houston pulls out on offense.
Dallas, I mean, we know what to expect from these dive compositions, right? But I mean, to play a Lucio Moira with this dive is you're sacrificing maybe some of that sustained throughput that you get from like an Ana, for example, just for the ability to get right up in the enemy's face and have, you know, these big fights around coalescence. So Dallas, it's not a balanced approach, right? It definitely tilts aggressively. Now though, they mix it up. They're playing double bubble. I love it on defense. Philadelphia Fusion are a team that have always had very good sort of Winston-based defenses in the past. You know, just by and look, you're dealing with Fearless and Harbin here, so you've got two tanks that really understand just how much damage they can take before they need to get out. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out here, but this is what happened to Doha.
So this is what happened
just off the map. It just pieced out. Just later.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, it's the first game.
いいね、こう楽しそう。
Everybody's getting the rust off.
I can see you. I can hear you smiling.
帰る泣いたよ。
ファラ使えんなら使えるみたいな感じじゃないの。ファラある程度使えてるんなら多少は飛ぶのは慣れてんじゃないの。
飛び方がちげえからな。
Decent start there for Dallas. You see the Fearless gets the bubble, plays that left corner. Junggu though gets some advanced positioning and Harbin's forced to self-bubble. Junggu just says, okay, I'll force that cooldown, that's fine. Doha, sticky bombs could be nasty in this part of the map now. Focusing beam doesn't find the kill, but huge biotic grenade on a Fearless.
And this is what's going to be tough when they bring in the McCree. The McCree's really strong against Echo up in the sky. Although Echo, very strong hero right now. But when you try and dive and put some pressure on, all it takes to take out Fearless is like a shield bash. You have a stun that comes in. There's only so much the bubble can do from Hanbin. As soon as the Tracer gets
Oh shit.
the damage from the Tracer, it's very difficult to keep Fearless up.
ナノブーストがゴリラに刺さって
ナノウィンエグ。
さあヒーロー落ちだ。
かけ方やばすぎナノウィン。
ね。
煽ってたまた。
この後のやつめっちゃ煽るな。
くそあるね。パルスボムか。パルスボム
向こうは結構そういうのなんていうの肯定的だよな。
意外とね、プロも
煽
るよな。
プロもやるからな。そういうの楽しんでやってんだろうな。日本、例えばシージの大会でやったとしたらもうコメント欄荒れまくると思うよ俺。
ボロクソ言われそう。
ボロクソ言うだろうね。
There's a huge sleep from Fielder. We didn't actually catch it, but Jungkook uses Primal Rage and jumps into the backline, trying to make a play on the Fielder up on the high ground and hits him with a sleep dart. So really nice play there from Fielder. So that could have been something where the Outlaws were trying to get the Winston into the back, cause some chaos, and push off the back.
Doha duplicates a Winston as well. Gets Primal Rage, doesn't really have the time to make any use of it. And here's the Graviton Surge now. Hanbin's going to float one out. Deadeye for Happy. Bubble on Jungkook. A lot of protection. That is double bubble right there. And oh dear. I mean, somehow Fearless has to try and get away here, but he gets a nano boost just in.
ナノウィン、神ナノっすね、これ。
スタック
バ
リアで守られたけど、タイが少ない。
トレッサやばすぎ。さあ、ボール来た。ここのボールなかなか止まんないけど、いや、ブリーってのバッシュとビップがうますぎる。
マークリーのフラバンもあるから。
CC まみれだな、よくよく見たら。今更だけど。
The Tracer there, the pulse bomb. I'm surprised they even kept Fearless alive. I mean, Fearless was so
プサンの時のアウトロー、あれだって、シグボールに取れまくゼニぶりだって。
俺らじゃ到底真似できない。
Note, I think, as well as that, as an Nana player defending on this map, sometimes you're not given great sight lines to heal up your main tanks, just because they might dive in deep and they get stunned. So, often, Fielder actually had to play quite riskily. He has to drop off the high ground, he has to try and get an angle on Fearless, for example, to try and heal him up and give him a nano boost and such. So, that's a dangerous game to play when you're dealing against Echo Tracer, who can really sort of swarm on you very quickly. So keep an eye on that. If you ever get to spot Crimzo here in this next couple of minutes and see how he needs to reposition to be effective, it's a fine line to tread, right? Trying to stay in a safe position, but also getting enough throughput because you're playing with a Lucio here.
ラッシュやりたいわ。
ラッシュやりてえよな。
うん。
俺どれあたりかわかんないけど。
ナミシラは。あ、ソンブラのあれ見つけてるな。
ね。
ナミシラ、ルシオかハルトじゃない。
そうだね。
まあ、要所要所でスピードかければ。
俺らのやるランク帯なんて、ハルトハンマー振る人で十分だから。それなら、高度の戦略のいらないはず、きっと。さあ、上取ってますけど、詰めるタイミング探してますね。
ね。
やめたのかな？諦めたっぽい。
ナノウィンスで取りに行ったね。
それにナノウィン来たらな、だいぶできないわ。いいナノだ。
エコー何ハックするんだろう。ハックでもコピーするんだろう。
ソンブラじゃない？知らんけど。
EMP。さあ、ブリが。
さあ、パルスホームで穴が落ちている。さあ、ヒーラー2枚プラスザリアも落ちている。
うわぁ、どこかった。
そこで下がらない判断すごいわ。
Still, it's so difficult. Like maybe if you can say, okay, the Echo didn't really pay off on that first point, but right there, being able to pull another tank into the mix, especially a Zarya, right? Just so tanky, being able to bubble his own Zarya and whatnot.
3 bubbles
makes it very difficult to take. Yeah, it makes it very difficult to take them out and get the point.
Dante again, playing close to the point. Fearless the high ground has to bubble already, and Harbin needs to find a big.
そう、ザリアかけてますけど、ナノも入ってますね、ザリア。さすがに耐えるから。
いいナノ。
Goes down, so it's just Jex's healing, and yes, he has to rally in this fight, but you need a lot of healing to deal with what the Outlaws are bringing right now. Fearless is sleeping on the job. Hate to see it from a role star from 2020, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And it looks like the fuel that are going to have to be satisfied with the 1 tick for now. Happy gets the EMP, but there's no one to capitalize.
All right, so they do get 40% though on point B, so pretty good progress for the Dallas Fuel.
運命のラウンドようですけど。
めちゃくちゃ眠い。
俺はこの後、どうしようかな。ちょっと寝て。
がっつり
お昼にカレー屋さん食べ行きますと思いました。
いってらっしゃい。
とても楽しみです。
多分この調子だと太陽選手は見れない。
太陽選手なんか今日は出るのかちょっとわかんないよ。出ないとかなと言ってくる。
眠い。眠すぎて見れない。今、画面真っ暗だもん、今、俺の中で。
それまぶた閉じてるっていうで。
あれモニターの電源切れたこれ。暗い。
暗い。クソウケるんだけど。
暗いんです
そんな無理して見る配信じゃねえだろ、この配信。
でも9万人見てるよ。
9万人日本人じゃねえだよ。
日本人俺ら3人だけかもしれない。
多分そうだよ。まともな人間。オーバーウォッチリーグ見てない多分。普通に日本語の解説実況ない時点で見てない人多いと思う。
日本語の解説やっぱ欲しいよね。
俺らが翻訳するしかねえよ。
シージそういうとこもやっぱすごいわ。日本のブリザードが力入れてません。全然。こんなに面白いゲームなのに。ちょっともったいないわ。
なんだかんだやったことある FPS のうちの一つだからな。ある程度みんな知ってんだろうな。
The whirlwind here, just dishing out damage, and Fearless has to get a bubble there. He gets nano boosted as well by Fielder, and the Fuel need to find a pick. They need to find a kill, but Juvie stays off. Fearless once more.
Oh shit.
The Outlaws now, they are looking proper scary here. Dante's pulse bomb may not even be required right now, and great healing given to him there by Crimzo. Keeps him standing. Already 1 tick on point A, Matt.
Well, that's the biggest thing, Mitch. They're going to be able to take this. As it looks like Hanbin may be trying to make something happen from the high ground, but the Outlaws
粘るね。
without using any of their ultimates. There goes Sparkle. Doha's back in the mix, but do you even need to use anything if you're Houston? You can hold on to all these ultimates 6 ultimates potentially going into this second
Still,
point.
this fight has taken long enough that although Dallas are technically feeding, they're able to build up a primal rage.
ドローかな。
いや、わかんない。2分あってヒューストンは売ると言ってた。もうほとんど6つあると言っても過言じゃないけど。
全部。
サポートのあれがない。あれはダラスの方。これいかにしのいだり、売ると早く貯めるかに決まってるわ。これ0ビ。でも0ビトンだ。トレーサーうまく捕まえられなかった。ザーナ遅いますけど。これダラスは返したな。あと1分。
I'm getting serious Nene vibes from that playoff decider game.
Yeah, and then Judy ends up using the rally, trying to keep everybody up through Fearless's primal, and they're not able to do so. So they end up burning 2 ultimates there in Dallas Fuel. All they had to do is use primal rage. That's allowed them to build up their own rally, their own grab, and then also, just like how Dante turned into a tank with the duplicate.
ラッシュでルシュやりたい。
When it looked really good for Houston, 6 ultimates, 2 minutes to go. Now that the tide shifted, Dallas looks like
ちゃんがルシュやるって言ったら涙が晴れたしかないな。
確かに。
何にもできない。ハルトぐらいしか。
でもナミちゃんハルト好きだろ。好きじゃない。
もう好きじゃなくなった。
ポーポーってチャージ率 50% ぐらい上がってる。
そんで。
おまけです。おまけにチャージ率高め。
ラッシュのハルトってそんなチャージする？
しないんじゃない？ルシオで足速く
まあ、
なるし。
ケースバイケースだけど、そうだな、殴る方がいいんじゃない？固まって面で叩く感じだから。
ああ、ここでやるか。
でもザリアボコローすのやばいよ。
ね。
クソ粘る。
ああ、めちゃめちゃ粘ってる。いや、これザリアやられたぞ。
いや、さすがに取りきれんか。
さすがにドロー。
さあ、2対2、最後のマップに持ち越された。
ダラス勝ったのか、取ったのか。
3分の1取ってたね。
なるほど。ラストゲームじゃん。
超接戦。
ダラスのチーム全員韓国人じゃない？
ぽいね。
珍しいことじゃないかもしれないけど、アメリカの都市のチームなのに全員韓国人ってのはちょっと面白いよな。
そうだね。
韓国人はゲームが上手いんだな。引き抜かれるわけだわ。うわ、ビッグすぎ。
クソデカビッグサージ。そこにグミがくっついてんのも火力クソ出るんだろう
な。よし、やりたい。ハルトディーバのマクリーメイトか。ラッシュ構成ってさ、ゴーツもそれなんだよ。 近しいものを感じるわ。固まって襲って敵を圧死させる。ロマンを感じるわ。とてもやりたい。
いいね。残念ながらオープンキーはできません。
なんで？
理由は言わずもがな。
バカヒラ。
僕がサバガじゃないからです。
このバカヒラ。しょうがない、せめて。何？ロール級だけでもあげましょう。全部ゴールド乗せようぜ。
ね。
俺もあとちょっとでさ、あれ行くだよ。プラチナじゃなくてダイヤ。
あ、そんなあげた？
少しずつ上げて今2800乗ってるから、サポート DPS が。
あ、じゃあ吸っちゃおうかな。
サバカや使うよ。
2800ある時点で俺と一緒にできないから。
そうだ。
I mean, you literally couldn't, right? Between these two teams, high hopes for both fan bases going into this season. Usually you don't say like the first game is extremely impactful, right? You got a lot of games to go. This season, 15 games, right? Each team, these early games really can give your team like a big lift going into some of the next matches. So. A lot on the line here in this fifth map as Repel will come in for field.
Yeah, I mean these are, and bear in mind these are seeding matches for qualifying matches for May Melee presented by Xfinity. So, I mean these are not just like regular average Joe sort of regular season matches that will just tally up your numbers at the end of the season and see if you mathematically are able to qualify the playoffs. No, this culminates here in a tournament. And the better you perform in these first few weeks, the easier your road is going to be, the less taxing trying to get through that elimination bracket at the end of the month will be. The Outlaws, I mean, they start well on Busan. It's a really back and forth kind of map here, and I mean, this whole series has been map for map stuff. For the Volskaya defense for the Dallas Fuel, I mean, Hanbin had to step up with a huge gravel and was needed just after Piggy had made a crucial miscalculation on using one of his to try and catch a Tracer.
If he would have caught Sparkle though, and he was very close planting it on that box, it would have been a completely different fight.
Yeah, sure. If Nene had caught the Sombra inside his grab, it would have been NYXL in the playoffs. Just saying. I'm just saying, bro. Sorry, New York fans.
Sairios.
You're all a bit twitchy these days, I feel it.
トイレ行ってこよう。
There you go. Feel better now? Thought so.
ああ、でもなんかルシを選んだりとかして落としに行く構成じゃないね。ウィンスのウルドぐらいか。
ウィンザリー。ほとんどミラーだな。いや、ミラーだわ。で、まあ、新名をと、まあ、ミラーやん、完璧に。面白くなりそうだな。
まあ、まだね。
Piggy waits a bit before he gets his charge, and you better believe he gets plenty of it. Holding onto his personal bubble there as Fearless makes a dive in, but it's a big biotic grenade connection from
障害が入ってたけど、あ、
make the
特
difference
に
there.
は
Dallas
問
are
題
able
な
to
さそ
recover
うか。
from it though, as Houston don't really apply the pressure and jump.
ウィンストけど。
Great shield bash from Jexa. They get the Winston, but it's traded out, and the back line
う
fuel goes
うわ、
down.
エコーが暴れてたんだ
As Dallas have enough damage available that the healing doesn't matter.
一気にウィンスが遂げて一気にやられたな。
トレタイマン見てるとマジハラハラするわ。レベルが高すぎる。
よし。
Again, one of your 2020 role stars for DPS, Sparkle,
惜しい。
wants to try and pressure the Echo as much as he can. Tough for Trace to get onto high ground. She needs to triple blink across to get up there. But once she's there, she can cause problems. Great primal rage from Fearless. I thought he was
ちょっと溶けてますけ
but
ど。
Dallas are going to continue to increase this lead. Happy was hoping perhaps that Sparkle was around that corner, or Jexa perhaps, but gets no one.
Got it to me.
I think Jexu is around the corner and gonna come like walk right into it and gets absolutely nothing. Is Piggy charged up? Won't be able to keep that charge. He's getting bashed around by Doha with the duplicate. See though, he'll have a grab coming back, and just like this, we're up to 50% plus.
こんばんのおばちゃってみたい。
For the Dallas Fuel. They'll also have a nano boost here for Fearless, probably like on the corner. Or they can save it for whoever gets grabbed, like if they try and solo.
そんなオーバースペックの PC 買いたくないの。そんな。
そんなオーバースペックじゃなくてもオーバーウォッチできそうだけどね。
ちょっとだけどさ。相場とかよく分かってないし。あんまいいのじゃなくて。
これからも使うよって言うんだったら、ちょっといいやつを買ってもいいかもね。
Gets up in the Dallas Fuel's face, and that is something that you are just never prepared for. You also end up having what, 2 bubbles.
だって僕バイク乗りたいし、そんな金ないんですよ。
まあでも普通に10万前後になると思うよ。
だよね。
多分10万以下だと普通に物足りなくなってるじゃない。今の
スペック低くてなーってなってそう。
And a dream, he's able to get away, but for how long? Not very. Sparkle's able to run him down eventually deep in enemy territory, and that Graviton Surge comes in pretty late in the day. It's not really enough. No kills as a result of that one. Doomy's able to deal with Sparkle there.
用語覚えるのがめんどくさい。CPU とかグラボって何ってとこからだ。意味不明すぎる。日本語で OK。脳みそなのはわかるけどさ。例えばね、そう。R なんとか2000みたいなのあるじゃん。それ見て性能がいい悪いとか。
ああ、そこら辺はググってなんか。
でしょ、そのググるのはめんどくさい。バカバカしい。
とりあえず RTX3000 台はが乗ってる PC は15万ぐらいする。
3060俺乗ってるけど13万だったからね。かなり安かった。
かなり安いね、それ。
なんか正月かなんかのセールでね、めっちゃ安かったマジで。
いい時に買ったね。3000、多分70かな。70と。コア i7 のなんだか K が乗ってる。これ、確か。
ミラの俺より普通にいいやつだな。
去年のやつ。去年出たばっかりぐらいのやつかな。ザリアコンビ
全然上位。
1個上ぐらい。クソデカサージ打ちまくって。
うわ
サージ打ちまくって。取り返したね、完全に。
I think right there towards the end for the Dallas Fuel, they just needed to figure out whether they wanted to keep committing to that fight or back up and try and get with the rest of the team. Because what you saw there is like Fearless and Hanbin just kind of playing in no man's land in the middle of a point.
あれだな、なんかパソコンは買うってなってから軽く調べて、これどうと思ってこうちゃんとかに聞けばいいんじゃないってなって。そしたらポチる。
Get on the point, push on forward, big dude there to Dante. I mean, there's nothing you can really do with that with the Graviton surges and bubbles coming down. Knows that ultimate's going to save you there.
USB のポートの数だとかさ、HDMI がうんだらうんだらとか、そういうのもなんか見るといいかもね。
You'll see immediately Happy wants to try and establish a high ground position so Doha can't fly too close to the ground. Zaya bubble. Given to Fearless there. And it will be the Outlaws with the more aggressive posture early.
As they try and push the fuel back, and then they take control of the point. And that's a huge pick. You know, Doha is a large source of the damage, especially from the sky. Just gives Dante free reign now on the Echo. Put down some damage. You see, they can't really focus on Happy anymore. So he's just cleaning it up. But Dante with 3 in the fight. So this will be the point that goes to the Outlaws first. If they want it, I mean, they can just leave it. I mean, they can just leave it if they want. But most likely they'll go back and cap it.
This, I mean, okay, so I think there was a lot of discussion about the sort of the flexibility of Dallas Fuel's DPS coming into this series. And over the course of the series, it hasn't really been an issue. There might be a legitimate DPS diff now, though, on this kind of composition, on this Tracer Echo composition. The Outlaws look like they are way ahead in that regard.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I've actually been pretty impressed with, like, the Tracer of Sparkle today. Like, it doesn't look great in some of these, like, 1v1s against Happy towards the later half of the series, but you know, he's kind of held his own against both Happy and Dante, who are both very good Tracer players.
Now, though, starts to get pretty punishing. The Tracer Echo setup seems to be kind of brutal. Doha's able to deal with Dante at the very least, but this is the Outlaws, 32% and counting. Jungu with a Primal Rage now, and there's only so long that Jexa will be protected from these flying fists. At least there's a trade across the map as both Winstons sort of lean into their prehistoric sites. 4% and counting. Outlaws still have the point after that spend by Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, they just have so much more map control, regardless. The Fuel going to have both their DPS move towards the point. This is a bit dangerous. You're going to have some players split. Be a grab that comes down. Dante with a duplicate.
On the break.
He'll actually take a break, yeah.
I mean, two loads of Inspire healing is good, but both Breaks need to be in position doing damage to actually get those Inspire procs, at least a whip shot. And looks like Dante doesn't get any value out of that copy, whereas Doha's able to, you know, copy a Zaya, and there's 2 more bubbles, 1 more for Doha, another for a teammate. That's kind of wrong.
I mean, look, the Brig is tanky, but at this point, like, teams know to kind of like you can focus the Brig down, and it's not as survivable as kind of like 1.0 as you would call it. Where the Zarya, you just get so much more impact with the bubbles for the teammates.
Oh, Happy takes a ton of damage there. He blinks towards Sparkle and takes a lot of headshots at close range. Sparkle eventually able to chase Happy off the point. He picks up a mega health pack. Sparkle still 120, has recall available, uses it. Meantime, Jungu goes down, so Dallas looking good, and Sparkle woke up this spawn and chose violence, apparently. 45% and counting.
So you'll have the Primal Rage here from Fearless. See if they'll try and do a little bit what we saw. Try and find a support, knock him out of the way. Big pulse bomb though there from Happy, able to find the Ana. That's a lot of the healing out of the way for
Jets is not in any position
to
heal anybody.
Out
of line of sight even. Hum is able to deal with Happy, but there's no healing for the Dallas Bull right now. It might not matter because Fearless has so much health. No need to top it up here. Still needs to respect the charge of the enemy Zarya. And this is nice from Piggy, making sure he's not knocked into the window. Fearless had to get that kill, but needs more. And there's just no healing. Barely avoids a very furry duck as he ducks. Doha's going to stall this out a little bit longer. Dallas, considering they had no supports for most of the
scenario, and they were able to extend it pretty far to the point that they may be able to get back on and take it here.
82% and counting. Dallas so close to a series victory here. Dallas had to be so tight. Good start getting rid of Jungu there. Jexa falls down to Happy, but Hammond is very charged. He's just looking for someone to stuff all of this damage.
チャージには3つもりだけど
お互いサージってナノもあるぞ。
The Dallas Fuel are routed, and we have one more fight to decide the entire potentially series.
これはもうちょっときついかな。
さすがにね。
あと5秒。トレス入った。ちょっとナノウィンですけど、いや、きつ、ブリギって硬すぎる。
やばい。
エコー追うけど、うわ、エコー落とした。お、まだわかんない。トレス残ってる。
さすがに。
無理か。いやー、よう粘った方だわ。 フライトしてる英語ジャンプでグイって無理やり終えんのやばい。
終えんのやばいね、あれ。
ね